What is happening, YouTube? We are firing it up tonight. You know what Ghost of the Great White North means? All Merle, all day, all night long. Yes, Merle is back, and he is back looking good, feeling strong, and he's even got a nice part down the middle in his hair tonight, which is very
Oh,
nice. And our special guest tonight from A&E's Cursed the Bell Witch, we have Nick T. White. We'll bring them on momentarily. But before we do, let's give a rundown of everybody in our chat room so far. In the gold medal position, we have Mike L., race fan, taking home silver. James Horn in the bronze. Andrew, the trucker, give us a honk with your horn if you don't mind. Oh, there she is, everyone. The gorgeous Emily Bigelow, otherwise known as Alaska's greatest athlete. Give us a wave, Emily, if you don't mind. Damon, good to have you in our chat room. Eric Files, thank you for joining us. Hi, Grandmaster. The gorgeous Steph Dickey from Florida. Cloudy, good to have you here as well. Cosmic Fleur, you are looking absolutely stunning tonight. The gorgeous Wrench Kira is here. David Hughes from New Zealand. Please let us know if we are alive tomorrow since you live in the future. Otherwise, thank you for joining us in our chat room. Sassy Sandra, good to see you. Appreciate you coming on in. Scrolling on down, Joey Hayes, good to have you back, my friend. Always a pleasure. All right, scrolling on down. The lovely and talented Katie is back. Bee's Nest, good to see you again. And we continue our scrolling down. The lovely and talented Wrench Princess Denali is here, the official royalty of Spaced Out Radio. Good to have you here. Babster, home from cruising the bingo halls tonight. FAP is back. Lovely Laura Stevens is here, everyone. Make sure you give her a wave. Dave Wadge is here. Hello, Dave. Thanks for joining us. We continue on down. Z Hunt and the gorgeous Anne Celine. Anne Celine, by the way, will be signing autographs after the show, but only if Merle holds her hand. Merle will be holding her hand. Line up to the right of the studio. Mondak, how you doing, my friend? Good to have you here. And Mondak will be signing autographs to the left of the studio tonight. Stu Gerson, right there, man. Good to have you here. Ken in Texas, good to see you. The Michael Leger is here, everyone. The Michael Leger. He got me a new gnome, and I'm pretty happy with it. So thank you so much, Mike. The X-Quest, good to see you here, my friend. Thanks for coming on in. Ken in Texas, good to have you here. Kurt Seltzer with a splash of lime. Greg Moyes, good to see you guys. As we scroll on, there she is, everyone. She'll be signing autographs outside the studio as well. The gorgeous and talented Jenster. But first, in order to get an autograph, you have to ride 5 miles a stationary bike. Then she will sign your autograph. Steve Stockton from KPNL, good to see you. Nikki Starr, thank you for coming on in. Looking lovely tonight. The gorgeous Wrench Jenny is here. Dirt Road, Bombshell Bomber, Project Blue Book, good to see you. John Hires, how are you? Thanks for coming on in. $5,900. Good to see you. Cherry Pepsi Mike, thanks for coming on in, buddy. Hope you're having a good night. Golden Lee A, you're looking lovely tonight. Ozzy, oi, oi to you. Cam Pride, welcome to our channel. Thank you for joining us for your first time. I hope you enjoy and hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. Randy Spurl, good to see you. Hey, Mr. Catfish, how you doing? SJ, good to see you. Ed Clater, nice to have you here. Millennium and the Walter Bosley channel. Hey, Walter Bosley, how you doing, buddy? Good to see you. That's a nice surprise. Yeah, we're just starting, man. We're going to get going here in about a minute and a half, 2 minutes. Rachmaninoff, good to have you here. Uncle Dale and his Power Stash are here, everyone. You are allowed to give the Power Stash a rub for good luck. Uncle Dale approves that actions. All right, I think we're almost caught up here on saying hello to everyone. Joshua, good to have you here. Typical Watch, nice to see you. Michael Lestuca, nice to have you here, buddy. All right. Mr. Man Mister, otherwise known as the Triple M. The Triple M Factor. We got Merle, who's also a Triple M. And now we have Mr. Man Mister, who's a Triple M. A double Triple M. Look at that, Merle. A double Triple M. Tonight
it
here
can
on
only
the
be
show.
one.
I know. But it is what it is, brother. It is what it is. All right. Moving on. Moving on, we got about a minute here. A great way to support what we do on this show, everyone, is by hitting that subscribe button, giving us a thumbs up, ringing that bell, and of course, telling your friends, sharing it all over your social media. The super chat is open. It's another way to say, hey, Dave, thanks for what you are doing on a nightly basis. And we're very thankful for everybody who continues to support us that way as well. Our website, spacedoutradio.com, goes to the Great White North. Coming on up here with Merle. Merle. There we go. 15 seconds before we go. Spookles, the awesome cat. You're looking lovely tonight. Ozzy's sister from Australia. How's tomorrow looking? Please give us an update. See if we are alive. Merle's in the chat room. And here we go, guys. From the mountains of central British Columbia to you listening around the world, this, my friends, is Spaced Out Radio. I am your host, Dave Scott, sitting in the captain's chair of SOR headquarters. We welcome you to tonight's show on our terrestrial affiliates around North America, digitally on TalkStream Live, Revolution Radio, and KPNL. All of our archives are free by going to youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Just do old Davey the favor, hit that subscribe button. You can follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you, including rocking out to Bumblefoot and reading up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire. Tonight's show is brought to you by Chive Charities. Help make the world 10% happier by visiting Chive Charities today. You can find us on our website. Third week of every month, we bring in our good buddy Merle from Ghosts of the Great White North. Merle is an accomplished paranormal investigator out of Vancouver, British Columbia. He's investigated all over this province, along with Washington and Oregon states. And now, tonight, we are proud to have, from Cage of Darkness Paranormal Investigations, Nick T. White. Many of you may know him from A&E's Cursed, The Bell Witch, a 5-part miniseries about the Bell Witch haunting near Nashville, Tennessee. With 24 years of experience in the paranormal field, the experiences have been pretty profound, Nick, in many ways, which we're going to find out tonight. Then at the bottom of hour number 3, I will bring you the SOR Newswire, brought to you by Paranoia Magazine. Merle, how you doing?
I'm well, Dave. Very well. How?
Good. And we're getting a little bit of feedback from behind you, if you don't mind. And we got Nick T. White here as well. So we just want to make sure that our sound is perfect. And that way we can give everybody a great, great interview tonight. So, Merle, what's new? How's the ghost hunting been going?
A little slow with COVID. It's all right. We got some things down the pipe coming. But before we start the show, I have a bone to pick with you.
Oh, my goodness. What did I do now?
Where's your autograph? You never showed anyone? You're the only person in the world, dude.
Well, you know what? It's here somewhere. Hold on. I got the Merle autograph right here. That is the only Merle autograph right there that is known right now. I love it. And we're having a good time here. And we got some stickers that you sent over here, too, which is really nice.
Yep.
All right. Let's introduce Nick T. White here. And Nick, we're still getting a lot of background sound. I'm not sure if you got us on speaker or not.
I do, and I'm actually looking for a headset right now. We'll see if we can fix that for us real quick, brother. Sorry about that.
Oh, no worries. No worries, man. That's okay. We're all good to have you here. And, as we like to talk ghosts here once a month here on the show, well, we do it more than once a month, but with Merle, we like to go into the ghostly category. We bring in Nick T. White, who is a paranormal investigator out of the beautiful state of Nevada, and courtesy of Tennessee. That's where his accent comes from, and it sounds great. We don't get a lot of Tennesseans on this show, but I'm telling you, we got to do more, Merle. We got to do more.
I agree. Good accent. Strong.
Very
American.
strong.
Loud.
Very,
I'm
very
loud. I've
strong.
got a loud accent.
So
let me get this.
No problem.
See if this will stand for here. Just 1 second. All right. Does that work a little bit better?
100% better.
Way better.
100% better. Thank you so much.
Okay,
for,
great.
For doing that.
No worries. That's my fault. I forgot about the feedback on that. That's my fault.
Oh, very, very, very well done. You fixed it. We're good to go now. I mean, we're all stretched. We're all ready. And Merle, well, he's just Merle, and that's a good thing. But Nick, 24 years of investigating the paranormal. You know, there's not a lot of people who've been doing it before the television side of everything made it popular. What made you get into this field?
Well, I've had experiences ever since I was very young. I've had a few abilities that the Lord blessed me with a little bit that just kind of was just out of the ordinary to me. And I would hear things, I would see things, I'd feel things just completely out of the ordinary. I had one crazy, wild experience when I was anywhere between 12 and 15. I can't remember exactly, but I'd seen this. The easiest way I can describe this is like a black smoke panther that came kind of around a corner that walked towards me, walked up close to me, looked at me directly in the eyes, and the thing is, I never felt threatened during this, which is one of the biggest things about this. And I have Native American in my family, and so I immediately I'm going towards maybe it's an ancestor or a spirit guide or something to that effect. It may be trying to say something, but it just kind of disappeared. Never seen nothing, that same thing again. I was very young, and I thought, well, I don't know what that was, and now I got to find out what it was. But I've got with friends, throughout the years, even after I'd made my team and all that in 2011, and I've got friends that's into archaeology, studied, mythology and things like that. Even looked into the Mayans and the Aztecs and some Egyptian and Native American totems, things like that, and still yet to kind of find out. But that one time was enough to get me in gear. And then just throughout, it just seemed like I started seeing more things, hearing more things. Even before, like you said, even before really that it got popular, I was kind of digging in more just because I've always been more of a believer, and it just kind of, after especially seeing so many things, it just something that I thought that was my path that I needed to take. I needed to learn this stuff. Work hard as I could to find out everything, learn everything I can, and then hopefully, help other people with it or teach people how to do it the right way if I can. If as long as I'm just putting out the right kind of knowledge, that's facts. I always just try to make sure everything's facts.
And that's a big thing. Having those experiences when you were young really kind of transformed you into the person you are today. Did you think that you were normal living with a life of paranormal?
No, not at all. I didn't think I was normal anyway, but that was the thing. I mean, when I first started having the very first few experiences, they were kind of, to me, now that I've learned so much now, I'm 41, I'll be 42 this year. So, this was probably the experience I'm about to talk about, or the couple was around, I was about the 15, about that age. And I was hearing these things. To me, I think I was astral projecting, but I just don't know if that was particularly what I was doing or not. But I would hear this. It would always happen when I was laying down, and I was always calm, and I've always been kind of a calm person, except unless I'm in a, excited mood when I'm running around meeting people. If you've seen me at events, I'm kind of a little high strung when I'm in events, running around like crazy. But when it comes to like most of the time, even especially in investigation, I try to stay really calm in most situations. And so it's just this one experience. I was laying down in bed, and this was in a small trailer where me and my parents had just recently moved to the Pigeon Forge area in Tennessee, and I felt kind of tingly, like like how like if your foot is asleep or something like that. That kind of feeling. I felt my body feel like that, and all of a sudden it kind of went like, whoa, and then it snapped and then I kind of woke up a little bit. So I don't, and there's been a couple just randomly wild stuff like that has just been something enough for me to be like, I need to find out what this is. And then I started digging into more science as well, into like physics. I've started now digging into quantum mechanics, astrophysics, engineering, cosmology, and astrology as well. So I'm trying to get into just more further out into science, not just strictly just the basics that everybody's doing nowadays, which is that's fine. But I want to try to dig in. I want to really know exactly what's going on. Here I am. I've been filming, and it'll take me a little while to finish this, but I'm in the process of filming a DVD with my teammate Rob Browning, and I'm going to talk to myself across the multiverse, and I'm going to do it with the multiverse theory that Michio Kaku talks about, the string theory in the multiverse series. So I'm going to try to see if I can figure out a way. I'm trying to reach out, even maybe through your show too. I'm trying to reach out to other physicists, other engineers, other scientists, either other paranormal investigators or any other investigators that might want to be a part and to help me to try to figure out, is there a way, can we break through, the multiverse, to talk to a different realm or a different dimension or something like that, because these, to me, and one of my theories about ghosts is I just don't think ghosts are ghosts, because your energy is immortal. Your, quote unquote, your soul, it's immortal. So, you're just shifting into a different realm or different dimension. Where is that? What is that? How can, you know what I mean? That's where I'm trying to dig in, even with the documentary. So hopefully some cool stuff will come from that. We'll maybe learn something and even get a cool community together trying to learn more about that kind of stuff,
Speaking of the community, I mean, there's so much division in the community right now with what ghosts are, what UFOs are, what cryptids are. A lot of people don't believe there's a tie-in in between all of them. Where do you stand on everything? Because I know you're a good friend with a good friend of ours here, with David Weatherly.
Yes, absolutely. David is amazing. You talk about one of the smartest men I've met, man. Real good dude. But yeah, on that, I'm going to tell you, I believe it all is related. It seems that every single time, and that's why I call my investigators on my team uncaged investigators, not technically paranormal investigators. That's why I just call myself an investigator technically now, is because that, like, for an example, I'll give you a small example. Say you go, somebody calls, says, hey, man, I have a ghost issue. Okay, well, you go, you're checking out the ghost, and next door neighbor's like, hey, well, I had this Bigfoot, looks like coming around the corner, da 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 da. Okay, well, now you got two issues with two different investigations. And now, say maybe even just a block down, there was a UFO sighting or a launch or some kind of something. And that all three you will always pick up gamma radiation out of all three situations if you've been on those type of investigations. So how is that related? Why is that gamma radiation alone in those three types of there's three different fields there you're looking at. You're looking at paranormal, cryptid, and ufology, however you want to say it. So, I mean, to me, if you don't learn as much as you can, like I'm saying, you just broaden your horizons out into these different styles of the engineerings and out your space stuff, your terrestrial stuff, your future stuff, your past stuff, anything that's got to do with history, anthropology about people themselves. Like you have to keep your mind completely open. If you close your mind to anything and stay with one person, what they say, or one book with what it says, or one thing with whatever, you're going to close yourself off to learning. Period, no matter what it is. So in my own opinion, to answer your question, I know I digress and I ramble, but to answer that question in a short term, to me, it's all related, and there's a way that we can figure out how to tap that somehow. It's just a matter of calming down, just like you said, all the in fight and worrying about all this other stuff. Everybody just needs to calm down. We don't need to worry about nothing else but figuring out what in the world this stuff is, work together, talk to each other, and help each other, and get it done. That's all there is to it.
Merle.
I think they're different fields, like with UFO, with cryptid, and like ghosts, paranormal. I think maybe in a higher sense they're all connected, but in my opinion, it's totally different research for each. You can apply your research techniques across the board, but the evidence you obtain through each field, I think, is completely different. So it's different mechanisms of investigating.
I agree. I do agree that you get completely different answers from every situation, especially if you have a controlled setting when you're trying to do, like, for a paranormal investigator themselves, you're trying to take that quote unquote ghost, sit it into a controlled setting in front of scientists and say, here's a ghost, talk to it and figure it out in front of you. But then you have your cryptids and all that. I do agree with that. But being able to give yourself that opportunity to learn all those different fields opens up that where you have a natural muscle reaction. Like I was in martial arts for a good odd 16 years, and that's a muscle reaction. Fighting is a muscle reaction. To me, when you learn all this stuff, when you get out in the field, I was ex-military as well. when you get out in the field, all your training, it's all about the training. It's always about training. Learn, learn, learn. So whenever you get out to that call, whatever that call may be, you'll be ready for it. You'll react to it. You won't have to think about it, and you'll get her done. I completely agree with you. Yes, I'm right with you, man.
It's healthy to learn different tools in our field. I'm not a UFO guy. I quite enjoy the paranormal, but I also enjoy cryptid. Like I've been doing a lot of Bigfoot research as well. But even if I'm not a UFO guy, I can still go and look for UFOs and do all that sort of stuff with Dave, but apply my knowledge and mechanism of an investigation to what we're doing. And yeah, I think that's the best thing.
Heck yeah. Yeah, I'm with you, man. Absolutely.
See, for me, I think they are three different types of investigation as well. However, I think where we get a lot blocked, Nick, and please correct me if I'm wrong. This is just my opinion, and if you disagree, that's great. If you don't, that's great too. But somewhere way above that investigation, what we are doing here is where it all seems to tie in. And I think too many times we see, especially in the cryptid world, we see everybody calling, oh, well, this is a monkey, this is an ape, this is everything that isn't supernatural, when we haven't even solved the supernatural part or even investigated it. And I think what's happened is too many people are so focused on their area of, lack of a better term, expertise, that they're not looking at the bigger picture of how it all comes together in one point at some point.
That's exactly what I mean. That's exactly what I mean right there. Yeah. I may have said it weird, but yes, you're right there. That's what I mean by that. That like there's there's a somewhere in there, there's a similarity, but it's just figuring out, wonder what that could be.
The investigative process to me is very similar across the board. It's just a different evidence and what you're looking for. It's kind of like an outline, and you just put different things in it.
Yeah, you've probably had a lot of more experience there in that area, right? Like more like cryptids in your area, or is it more paranormal?
Well, it all depends where you are. So where I am, it's very cryptid, lots of UFOs, lots of paranormal. And I should mention, which is really cool, you're in Reno. I'm up here almost halfway up British Columbia, and yet we share something very much in common, and that's the Gold Rush Trail.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Right through Virginia City and all. Yeah.
Right. Merle.
Yeah, right. Gold Rush Trail's where it's at. So much history, so much murder.
Getting to learn a lot of it.
Yeah.
It's wild, isn't it?
All the pop-up towns that are no longer there, with all the people going up and down from basically Reno to Barkerville and beyond, even the way to the Klondike, up and down from the United States to Canada, dying, fighting, robbing each other, prostitution, you name it. There's all that energy up and down this trail.
It really, it's amazing though. If you speak about the Gold Rush Trail and the tie that we have together, Nick, it's amazing that out of all the television shows that are out there, here we had literally millions of people traveling this trail from California and Nevada all the way up right to the Klondike. And yet we have zero television episodes on it. We have zero people investigating this outside of, little cliques. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's amazing. Like, literally hundreds of thousands of people died in a short amount of years along this trail, violently at that. It's probably the most haunted trail in North America. And yet, nothing. Silence.
It is. It kind of, it's stunned. I mean, just this whole area was really, that stunned me. When I first came from Tennessee, like, we've got, don't get me wrong, we do have a lot of history there in Tennessee and the East Coast as well. But we'll be able to come out here, I mean, just to start off beginning to learn about Reno and how it got its start, and then get to go check out Carson City and, Kit Carson, starting that area, all that. Then we get up here and get to check out one of the most amazing places I've ever been in my entire life, which is Virginia City. And if you know anything about Westerns, you know all about Virginia City. Or if you know about the silver, the Virginia City's silver alone stopped pretty much the Civil War. I mean, and that's the kind of history that's up there. And then you go all the way up straight, just like you just said. You've got trails going all the way straight up, all the way up North America, all the way up towards Canada and everything. And you get, just like you said, you get a few here and there, and some does a really good job on some of the history here and there. But there's not a lot of folks that's really digging into a lot more than just what's on the surface. Even myself, I've got locked in a little bit with Virginia City, learning about places up there. Of course, the first thing that brought me there was paranormal a little bit. But man, when I got to walk around and talk to some of these folks up there and start learning about that area, like I talked to Dawn, she's she's the one that runs the Mackay Mansion, and she was telling, like Grant, the President Grant was through there. That kind of thing is going on, and nobody's really digging in further into that and talking about that stuff. So hopefully, I'm going to try to do that myself a little bit. Hopefully I can get to go on up through the trail, but right now I'm a little close here, so I'm going to try to dig into Virginia City. I've talked to a lot of folks, got to know a lot of folks. I feel like I'm at home there. I mean, I literally felt like when I walked in there, I felt like I'd been there before. I had even met a past life guy. Go ahead. What's up?
I was gonna say, last summer I had a trip locked up for Virginia City and Reno and all through there, but then COVID ruins everything for us to go to the States.
Man, luckily now I think that even the governor here is going to open up stuff, so we're going to be able to have like events and things now. So I've talked to a few of the owners up there at the businesses, and I may be running some events through town and let folks actually get to have a full experience. There's great folks up there that runs events, or not events, but like historical tours called Bats in the Belfry. Really nice folks.
Yes.
And I'm going to talk with them. Great people. And I'm going to talk with them, and maybe we'll be able to do some like real, like big deal stuff for the city, and have not just paranormal, but great historical things about the city as well. And kind of, because I mean, it went at its boom, there was more than 25,000 people that lived in this area. How that lives there now? Maybe 1,000. And it's like, and it's an amazing place, man. If you've been there at all, you know what I mean. I mean, it's a home away from home, and hopefully I can do something to let everybody else see it and get more people out and check it out.
We got about 90 seconds to go here before we got to go to break at the bottom of the hour. Merle is here with Ghosts of the Great White North with our special guest, Nick T. White. When we come back from the break, and my throat has been cutting out all day long. And so I apologize if my voice isn't sounding properly tonight. But when we come back from the break, Nick, I want to find out how COVID over the last the last year and a half almost here has affected your investigation, because I know up here, some people have been investigating, others have not, others have complained about those who are investigating. And I want to know how it's affected you, because I mean, this is something you take very seriously. It's something
Absolutely.
that is a huge part of what you do in your everyday life, and to have that ripped away because of COVID, even though you're not touching anything and you're not being around people when this happens, it is a little strange. It is a little strange when that goes on. But my friend, I'm going to get you to hold on. Merle, I'm going to get you to sit tight as well, if you don't mind, because you literally have overstepped your boundaries for the amount of words this first half hour.
I sounded educated.
You went over by about 16 words, Merle. You're on a word count, but we love you anyways, Merle. Thank you so much. Ghosts of the Great White North here on Spaced Out Radio. And man, we are loving it tonight. Merle from Ghosts of the Great White North and the Paranormal Road Trippers. Probably the best investigator in Canada, if you ask me. And Nick T. White, all the way from Reno, Nevada. And we're talking ghosts coming up here on Spaced Out Radio. All right, we're clear, boys. We are clear.
Right.
That was a fast half hour.
Yeah,
no doubt.
This morning, I went to I went to take I ate a piece of fruit. And you know when you get a piece of fruit kind of stuck in your throat, and then I had to answer the phone at the same time as it was stuck in my throat, and then you get into one of those swallowing coughing fits, where you like
Oh, no.
swallow your own saliva, then you get into that coughing fit. That I've had 4 of those today. 4 of those
Well,
since
that's
this
no good.
morning. Just screwed up my entire throat today.
Hmm.
Well, that's no good. Yeah.
Not when you're on the radio, dude. It sucks when you're on the radio because you kind of need the voice.
Oh yeah, no doubt for sure.
Yeah.
Radio.
Are you
Yeah.
huffing Vicks,
I'm
Dayquil, NyQuil?
that's my
Right.
Vicks. My Vicks inhaler. Love it. Love it. All right. Yeah, let's see here. Oh, Dirt Road. Thank you for the super chat, man. You guys can talk. I don't have to be the one talking. I'm the one with the sore throat. Merle, you got to bail me out here.
Say something. I was
God's
waiting.
sakes.
So, didn't know what he was doing there. Did you?
Oh,
Me and Merle just kind of hanging on the wings, buddy. We didn't know what was happening.
I'll tell you, he is dead silent on this show a lot of time. But I'll tell you, you get him in the field, rock solid, man. Rock solid.
You know the smartest ones are only talk when they need to be talking. You know that. Right?
I choose
Smartest
my
ones will,
words.
and they'll make you and you'll listen every time they talk. You'll stop.
That's what we hope for, right?
That's exactly right, brother.
Oh, it's all good, man. It is all good.
I found actually for history, one of the coolest places I investigated in Oregon actually was the Wolf Creek Inn. It's on the old Oregon Trail, like when they were hammering out from east to west.
Uh-huh.
And it's in a pretty secluded town, and they looked at us Canadians a little funny, but that's okay. The place was extremely active. Like I forget, 18 is built in 18 something.
Oh wow.
But I know Ghost Hunters has been there. I know Ghost Adventures has been there. A couple of other people or shows or whatever have been there. It's good.
Merle Hunters too.
Merle Hunters, yeah, Merle Hunters there.
Merle Hunters.
Yeah.
Have you done the Appalachian? Appalachian. What do you call it? Appalachian.
Appalachian Mountains. Yep.
There we go. Okay.
Oh, by the way, little Marky Spender threw you a shot there, Merle. Sent me a message, and he goes, "Don't be picking on Merle. He's from the Lower Mainland. Probably can't take the snow." Yeah, or probably can't take it. Sorry. Thanks, little Marky Spender and little Terra Spender. Hi, Baxter. By the way.
You know what? I'm gonna throw back. I may be from the Lower Mainland, however, Marky Spender's from the island, which is a little more snowing than the Lower Mainland. Just throwing that out there.
You made no sense, just so you know.
He knows what I'm saying. I don't care if anyone else knows. He knows what I'm saying.
Oh, yeah. We like to have fun here, man. We like to have fun here.
I like that guitar you got behind your head, too. I need to play that sometime.
This one?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's my daughter's Jackson. The red one,
nice.
The red one here is a Court, and this one here is a Les Paul knockoff of Jay Tercer.
Oh, that's a slick one right there, the green one.
Well, it's actually, believe it or not, that is actually reflection from my green screen behind. It's like the green screen's probably 10 feet away.
Oh, I got you. So it's giving like a two-tone from the green screen.
Yeah, I wish it was that color, because that color actually looks
cool.
badass. It does look cool.
Hey, Dave, for the record, I got a message from Little Marky Spender, and he got exactly what I was putting down.
Yeah, just so you know, Little Marky Spender is suffering from gout in his knee right now. He had gout surgery, and he likes his red meat, his red wine, and his glass of beer after a night at the logging pit. So lots of gout action there for him. And Mark, we hope your gout heals up pretty quick, buddy. We really do.
Does he still roll hard in his reindeer onesie? The one with the fleece thing?
Oh yeah. Okay, guys, here we go. Second half hour of Spaced Out Radio is now underway. My name is Dave Scott. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us. We really do appreciate earning your listening ears. We want to remind you that if you've missed portions of this show or others, check out our free archives and go to youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Just do me the favor, hit that subscribe button. Our website, spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you, including rocking out to Bumblefoot and reading up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show. Here we go with Merle and Ghost of the Great White North. And I know Katie in the chat room still trying to figure out how to get a good Merle in. But, you know, it's like just rolls off the lips, just nice and smooth, Katie. Nice and smooth. And Mike, she can't hear you. I haven't turned your mic up yet, but there you go. There you go, Merle. Now
I was giving her instructions, man. I was telling you got to start it off like a cow moo and then add an RLE.
That's what I told her last night. I told her last night after the show.
1 month to perfect it. We will pick this up next month. 1 month.
Well, speaking of a great guest that we have tonight, we have Nick T. White from A&E's Cursed the Bell Witch. Nick, right before the break, we were kind of talking about how investigations have kind of slowed down all over North America due to COVID. How has this pandemic really affected what you do down there in Reno? Have you been able to get out as much? Has it changed, or has it been pretty much the same for you?
I'll tell you what, most of the stuff was while I was still in Tennessee, because I had just recently moved here to Reno just a little bit before December. So most of my past little bit experiences with it has been in Tennessee, and it really wasn't that good. I lost some family to it, some friends as well, a really good friend as well, and has watched it tear and rip souls out of people and just cause all kinds of pain and death. And it's not something that I like to see and watch people go through, because that's one of the things that I hate to deal with is watching people go through pain. I've dealt with a lot myself, and to watch other people go through so much is something that just puts me in my stop. It stops me from doing anything. And you know, hopefully this stuff here will kind of start getting better. It seems like things are going to get better. Like the event wise, like for the events, it locked down pretty much everything. That was the main reason kind of that we had came here. There was some TV stuff going on that I'm going to be a part of, but it kind of got put on hold for a while. So we, myself and my teammate, my buddy Rob Browning, moved here to Reno, Nevada, and kind of settled in, and kind of Reno made us feel at home. So we just kind of made our home in Reno as well, and just kind of, you know, hopefully everything will get better here too. But here, you know, everybody's doing their thing, wearing their mask, being protective, and everybody's cool about it, not being weird, and just, you know, everybody just kind of move forward. We'll get through all of it together, work through it, and do our thing, you know.
How has your investigations changed since COVID? Like for a number of people, they're not going into buildings, they're going more into natural type areas, whether it's hiking trails where people have maybe passed away, or graveyards. How about for you?
Well, anything that I do, it's not technically just going out to check out a ghost. Most of my stuff is usually cases for families or people who contact me that have issues or things like that, or if I have teams that has issues that they may have something a little further than their knowledge, they'll get a hold of me. And heck, if it's more than my knowledge, I know people that knows a lot more than I do, you know, so that way we can all get together and work together and stuff. But it's a rough go, man, all that stuff. So hopefully we can just all get together and just move forward, buddy. You know what I mean?
Merle.
It slowed down my investigating quite a bit. I had some projects in the States that I was supposed to go down to a few times, which, well, can't do that. But I did do a pretty big investigation a couple weeks ago in a remote town here. They shut the entire building down, so it was all COVID compliant. Um, I'm a stickler with compliance with COVID because, well, I don't want to catch it and I don't want anyone around me to catch it. So I feel if people are playing safe and respecting the masks, respecting the boundaries and the cleaning and all that, I think it's okay. Just don't do it in a crowded area or an enclosed space with like 20 people. I might get in trouble for saying that.
Well,
No, you're right, man. I agree.
Go ahead, Nick.
No, go, please.
No, it's my show, so I get the final say. You go ahead.
I knew we'd get along good. I forgot I was even saying now. You done threw me off. Shit.
Well,
excuse me. I ain't supposed to say bad words.
Well, that's all right. We'll let that one slide. But okay, in regards to COVID and the way you've investigated, has it been tougher to get into locations for you now that you moved from Tennessee to Reno, Nevada, and you're trying to establish your paranormal game there?
Not really. This is like he was saying. Most, especially here, most people are very safe. And any places right now that I'm really getting into is mostly Virginia City. And the folks up there, man, they're really on point with everything. So, everybody's really safe about stuff. All the areas that I'll even get to go to for like any of the YouTube stuff that I'll do or personal investigations myself, it's going to be areas where either, they'll already be closed where people won't be involved, or if I'm up there maybe running a few investigations with people, we'll always make sure everything's really safe because, that's to me, health's number one, no matter what. So as long as I can keep everybody safe and everybody has a good time, maybe learn something on the way and enjoy some history, that's what it's all about.
It really is. So tell us about why Virginia City is such an important place to investigate.
Well, to me, it's really from my father. My father, he's just had a birthday at April 10th. He's around 80-year-old now, and he's lived and breathed the Western life. Just 24/7. Right now, I guarantee if he's watching TV, it's going to be the Rifleman or Bonanza. I mean, like it's specifically Bonanza, because if you know Bonanza, that's Ponderosa Ranch is just right out down the road. That's what the Virginia City. That's Bonanza. So having one of his favorite shows, Bonanza, and then me having an opportunity to get here and then to find out that there's that here. And then when I dig in, finding out like, President Grant was here, and then you find out all the silver mining and where it was like the main reason of the stop of the Civil War and, the Millionaires Club at the Washoe Club. It was one of the biggest places in the whole area. And, all this stuff is just, it's a profound experience for me, not just for the paranormal. Yes, the paranormal, I love live and breathe the unknown too, but I'm a history nut and archaeological nut. So getting to go to this place to see all these, these buildings that are still being intact from the early 1800s, and to see it and to be a part of it is just, I'm gonna tell you, I'll be honest, I cried a little. I mean, I really did. When I first stepped that first foot into that town, I mean, it's an experience. Looking around and seeing all that, and then knowing that after you stand there, that's where these other folks had stood, where that literally where the beginning of the United States is. That's where you're standing. That's the kind of stuff that makes me excited. But then, yeah, then you get on the other end. It's one of the most haunted places in the world. And it's, and every time I go up there, literally there's either a voice I can catch somewhere or I can get a reaction. But I tend to not go in and like go crazy. I'm a very respectful person. My father taught me respect. My military taught me respect. Martial arts taught me respect. And I'm a respectful person. So when I walk anywhere I go, I'll just walk in and say, hey, my name is Nick. I'd love to talk to you if you'd like to talk. Cool. If you don't, let me know and I'll head on out. And I'll talk to them. I don't go in there raising Cain, going crazy, doing none of that kind of stuff. And I felt like when I went to Virginia City, I know it sounds kind of weird, but I felt like I was kind of like in that, that cowboy moment, that Wild West moment where I felt like I needed to be respectful, walk in, talk to the people, let them know that I was a respectful person. I was there to be a part of the town, to get everybody else out in the world to know there's more than just ghosts in Virginia City. There's amazing people and history that's been there since the early 1800s. and there's more room up in Virginia City for people to move and to make that thing grow again back to what it used to be. I mean, it was a huge boom. And once the silver boom went out, I mean, it went down to nothing. It went down almost 100 people, I think, who lived there right after the silver mining stuff went out. So, I mean, that's, to be able to be a part to maybe even like, I'm not saying I'm anybody. I'm not nobody, but if my little bitty part can help Virginia City to get back anywhere close to what it was, or to get the people to, to get some eyes on them, or those businesses through there, some amazing business. I got this cool little hat. I don't know if you've seen my recent, if you guys follow me on Twitter, I took a picture of it. I got a hat from this really amazing place called Old Red Garter. And you'll listen to this story right here. This is what gets me with that. That whole place burnt in 1875. A big fire, the Great Fire of 1875, burnt down the whole of Virginia City, except for a few single buildings, and one of them was this place. They took the third building of that and made another building, and then built off of that. And so there's remnants of this original place still there, and these people are still there. So that's amazing, isn't it? Just that kind of history, and to be a part of that kind of stuff, and that's what it draws me there. And then it's haunted as crap. so that's definitely a good time. But yeah, for sure, buddy.
I'm the same way. I totally geek out on the history and all like the old buildings from the 1800s and that. And then for me, a lot of times the ghost hunting or paranormal investigation is like secondary. I'm like, oh, we have to go do that now in some of these places, because you just want to keep looking at all of the old buildings that are intact, and it's like a time capsule. I wish I lived back then.
Yeah.
But Mike, that also brings up a good point, though, and either of you could respond here. But when it comes to the paranormal, we always talk about a lot of the issues that we hear going on in the paranormal, and I think one of them is the fact that a lot of ghost hunters out there, being weekend warriors that they are, whether they're in British Columbia, whether they're in Florida, it doesn't matter where they are, they're only interested in getting to that location, grabbing the gear, learning one or 2 points, the famous show me the hot spots that we've seen on TV all the time. Show us the hot spots, instead of actually delving into what is the cause and effect of everything. Why do you think, Nick, that we aren't getting more into that cause and effect towards the hauntings?
Reiterate that question for me a little bit.
Well, just in regards to the history, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Because a lot of these teams go to a location, they're all about, let's just get our gear, let's go investigate, let's try and get some EVPs or get the cameras set up. And they're not doing much with the history.
Okay, I feel you. I understand. Kind of like you have your different classes of investigators. Like, really, to me, and there's no issues with that, because some people like to go out and get a thrill. Heck, that's how I started. I was trying to get just to get the experience and feel it and understand it and see it. And then you have some that digs in a little further, and then you have all kinds of different. I love all of it, because to me, anybody that's interested in this kind of stuff like I am is a great friend of mine, because I will sit down and talk to anybody about it at any time. And if you know me from before this, I'll just talk your ear off. And heck, you probably heard me enough tonight, you'll know that. How about you, Merle?
For me, I have 3 locations already locked up and good to go for the summertime this year. And they're all historic places. They're all from the 1800s. And you know what? I could tell you everything about every building in there, because I think it's very important for any location. It doesn't matter if you're going to a McDonald's to investigate or an 1800s building. And the reason I use that comparison is because what was at that McDonald's before? Was it a different building? How old is that building? What was the property before? I feel if you're going to go do a paranormal investigation, you need to dive into the history. You need to figure out all like the dramas that happened back in the day, all of the players of the towns, and that's who you try and communicate with, because if they're the main players of the town, they're definitely going to be the main players of the town in the afterlife as well. You can't just go there, bring your K2 out and get a hit on it and think you found the demon, and then plaster it all over YouTube and say you're the king of that town. That's not how it works.
I completely second that, buddy. That's Rob Browning. I talk about him a lot. He's my researcher, and one of the best things about having a researcher is just like you just said. when you're going to these specific areas, you've got this knowledge, you're ready, you have everything possible that you can think of just to have that, just like I was mentioning earlier, that muscle reaction. Because it's great to learn as much. And plus, like you just said, I'm right there with you. I'm a history nut, man. And when I get to dig into some of that stuff, and just like I was talking about the Virginia City stuff, man, I'll cry. Like, I'll bawl out talking about some of this stuff, just how amazing it's some of this stuff is. And these locations, like some I've been, like the Penhurst Asylum, that was a crazy place, learning some of that kind of stuff. Wheatlands Plantation in Sevierville, that was an amazing place, learning stuff about there. And then getting here to some of these locations and learning the history. It's learning that Alexander Graham Bell actually installed the phone in the Mackay Mansion. I was like, wow. What was the number? 2? Or 3? Or 3.5. That's wild. That's the kind of history that's there, and it's just like, man, that's something. But yeah, to learn that, and as well as what he said, what Merle said, it's good to know that kind of stuff, because to be able to talk or to bring out some of these entities or spirits or people, it's good to know what's going on with them. Like where I'm ex-military, if I'm going in, like for an example, I talk about the Mackay Mansion a lot because I'm going to go up there and do a little bit of stuff there. And there's a colonel there, and he likes to sit down on the table where Ulysses S. Grant and the group, where they had a lot of meetings and things. And first thing I thought of, well, as I am, I like to go to the top and be respectful and let them know I'm there. So that's where I'm going to go. I'm going to sit down with the colonel. First thing I'm going to say is, "Hi, Colonel. My name's Nick. I'm ex-military, so I will show you as much respect as possible. If there's anything I can do to, we could talk. I just talk to them just like they were coming into my own house. If somebody's coming into your house, how you want them to talk to you? That's it. If you want to come in there, if they immediately, yeah, right. If they come in there and start be like, hey, make a noise. Hey, knock on this. Well, why? Who the hell are you to tell me this? So if you go in, talk really nice, talk just like you're talking to anybody, man, you'll get so much more reaction and you'll get them to learn your name. Man, I've went to places that they will remember my name and actually say my name when I'm gone, just to see if I can come back around and just say hi to them. And I love that, because to me, one of my main theories is nobody's stuck. They go to where they want to go. They will go where they're comfortable, where they may have been comfortable. That's where they want to go. So if they're somewhere and saying, "Hey, where's Nick?" I says, "What?" Apparently he's comfortable with me coming by and hanging out and talking to him. So, yeah, man, it's a good time.
You and Merle can hang out when that happens. Hey, we've got about 6 minutes here before we have to go to break at the top of the hour here. Goes to the Great White North with Merle and Nick T. White joining us as our special guest. Nick, do you have a story that really, normally people will always ask, what's your spookiest story? What's the funniest ghost story that you have that you could share with us?
Funniest? Okay. That I have never had anybody ask me that, so that is a great question. Let me run it through. The funniest. Everything's been pretty scary and serious. I always stay fairly serious on my investigations just because of my ex-military stuff. So it's usually, if it's funny, it's because of me, and it's because of me being around dolls. Man, I know it's a thing with a lot of people, but man, me and dolls just don't mix a lot. So I tend to kind of come around a corner and there's a doll. I'm going to squeal a tad, but then I'll just come back around the corner and try to fight it. So, it might get me a second, but man, I'm coming back after that thing. So, hey, but yeah, that's the only thing I can think of. Maybe it's just me, just kind of some of that silliness, just the way I am. I get so serious when I get on investigations that I just break character once in a while accidentally, because something will just throw me off of my game, and I'll just be like, what am I doing? Or something silly or nuts, But sometimes, man, that right there will get a good reaction, because it's that happy mode or happy mood, or maybe they kind of get a kick out of me just being a fool. Whatever it is. But sometimes I get a little bit better reaction after stuff like that. So, who knows?
Are you a screamer? Is that what you're saying? Like Ross, like our buddy Ross Allison, that he walks in there. He's got Eye of the Tiger, playing in the background, getting ready to go fight the ghost. He's got the Zoolander walk going on, and the minute something happens, it's screaming his head off.
No.
Come on,
Oh,
admit it, buddy.
no,
Admit it, Nick.
no. No, I feel you. No. It's no. You won't catch me doing that. I'm usually the one that'll bow up and like get into like this fighting stance accidentally, and then I'm all like, and then usually it's my buddy saying, "What are you gonna punch? It's air." You know, stuff like that. That's what it usually is. The little gets I like that is when I'm around them blame dolls or friggin' clowns or something dude like that. I hate them dolls, man. They just every time you walk around and they look at you. And they just kept staring. You go around the corner and they're still looking at it. And then you peep around the corner back at you, and then they're still staring at you. What is it about these dolls, man?
They're always watching.
You know, Merle was actually a couple of yeyears ago almost killed by a doll.
Oh, no good.
You tell the story, Dave. It's your turn this time.
Well, I didn't experience it. Merle, you got to speak this half hour. You're under quota for words.
Dude, I've spoken lots. Fine, I'll tell the story. It was in 2015.
3 minutes.
3 minutes? Oh boy, okay, that'll be easy. I was with a team in 2015. We were up at a Quesnel Museum, which is about an hour north of Dave. And there's a doll there called Mandy. We call her Mandy the Haunted Doll. Her name's Mandy. She has conflicting stories. Some say she was found in an abandoned building. Some say she was donated from a family. This was a time where I'm like, yeah, haunted dolls are cool and all, but I don't think they can do anything to you. One of the investigators, he just started staring at this doll and wouldn't look away for a good 10 minutes. Snapping around, like abrasively snapping around his head, his ears, his eyes, wouldn't blink, wouldn't do anything. And then 10 minutes goes by and he breaks, and he's white as a ghost, no pun intended, and then runs outside and pukes all over the parking lot there. And he says he didn't know what happened. He just tranced out. And then right before we were about to start our investigation, I'm like, all right, guys, I'm just going to go out and grab a snack, and then we'll do our thing. I'm walking out to my truck. I think I had whatever candy or something in there. And the last thing I remember was walking to my truck and opening the door. And then I wake up to one of our investigators, Derek, shaking me awake. What had happened, I had tranced out, I guess. And I'd walked towards the highway, and I was starting to walk onto the highway. This was in the middle of the night. So in the traffic, well, not in the middle of the night, late night, there was a lot of traffic going on. And yeah, clearly almost got smoked by a vehicle. But what had happened prior to me getting my snack was I kind of stared at Mandy being like, you can't do anything to me. And I'd done wrong. She clearly did something to me. And I blame the doll for that to this day.
You may have got it that challenge. I mean, it's always that challenge line. When you put that challenge on them things, man, sometimes they'll get on you like that. And that sounds like she may have possessed you there for a minute, or just took a hold of you or something, just where you was out of yourself. Just trying to kill you.
I got a whole new respect for haunted items. That's one of the things my team does is we acquire and investigate them. And if we deem they're haunted, we send them down to Ross Allison for his haunted museum in Seattle.
Oh, wow. That's cool, man. I'll have to keep that in mind, because I there's a few people once in a while I come across that would need somebody to take their items from, because I don't want to keep them. I got cats, and I don't need none of that around my house.
Then I'll send them to
hey, right on, buddy. That's awesome. I got that good. I got somebody to send stuff to.
Oh, for sure. For sure. It's always good. Guys, we got about 30 seconds here before we go to break here at the top of the hour. And when we come back from the break, Nick and Merle and our beautiful audience, I want to get into some of your more spookier stories that you have encountered, because the one thing our audience loves, Nick, is they love a good ghost story. And I'm hoping that when we come back in the next half hour, you can share a few of those with us.
That'd be great, man. I'd love to.
Yeah, let's do it. We got Merle. Yeah, Merle from Ghosts of the Great White North here on Spaced Out Radio. We bring him in once a month to hang on out and talk all ghosts with us. He's with the Paranormal Road Trippers, based out of Vancouver, British Columbia. And our special guest tonight from A&E's Cursed, the Bell Witch series, we have Nick T. White. We're talking ghosts all night long here on Spaced Out Radio. So stay tuned. Merle will be back with Nick and myself right after this.
Good stuff.
All
Good
right.
stuff, man. I'm glad you had me on, man. It's a good time. You guys are awesome.
Hey,
Glad you're
thanks,
on.
man. I'm glad you're having a good time. You guys chat away. I'm going to go let the dogs out. And remember, YouTube can hear you.
All right. YouTube can hear you.
Good to know.
Right. So Merle, how you doing, buddy?
Living the dream, man. Enjoying the show. Wanting to go investigate more. Yeah, I got a lot. I had a couple projects to do in the States, but unfortunately with COVID, I have to wait till it's over and we can travel again. Yeah, I miss going down there because we investigate a lot in the States, actually, up and down the coast. We had last year planned to go to Virginia City, 2020. Yeah, we wanted to go to Virginia City and all through there and investigate. We'd even, like, I booked a place and everything, like, way a long time ago. But yeah, it is what it is. It's so unique.
I'm out here now, buddy. So if you get you set up to go again, you let me know, buddy. We'll rock it out.
I 100% am down for that. That'll be
Absolutely.
good.
Well, hopefully there'll be some cool stuff, man. There's so many things all up and down that town, man. We'll run all up through every bit of it.
Yeah, man. I love the frontier stuff. All the old, like, cowboy style buildings. There's so much history. I just wish a lot of people would, because that's what I do. I lean on the history before even the paranormal aspect. Like, obviously, I look for, you type into Google haunted locations and whatnot, but I really only bite on them if they have really good history. Like, obviously we do a lot of private investigations for people's houses and other places like that, but the history is kind of my game.
That's good to know, man.
Yeah, we have there's a place called Sandon, British Columbia up here. It's an old silver mining town from the 1800s, and all that's left are 3 buildings.
Wow.
And it used to be a giant, thriving with thousands of people. And we investigated there last year, and we're going to go back this year. But it's kind of neat seeing all these towns. There's another one called Granite Creek. This is again in British Columbia. And it was an old silver mining town. Thousands of people. There were multiple bordellos, pubs, hotels, all, like the big frontier style town.
Yeah.
All gone. There's like 3 little broken buildings. And it's just, it blows my mind seeing these towns of what it once was to what it is now. But I feel like you can feel the energy there. It's bigger than what it looks like. Like, yeah, it's awesome.
The energy, yes, for sure, absolutely. I was looking into, there was one like Bodie, California, that's close. That was one like that that's got like a few little bitty small ghost town areas in that, to where it was still part of a lot of this stuff with the gold stuff and everything. And then there's I just went to a little fort that's right down from here called Fort Churchill. That was in around that same time. There's a lot of really cool stuff like that around here that hopefully I'll be able to get some good videos on, even just for like the history alone, because that's mainly, like you say. I mean, I like to look for that now, especially because to me, everybody already knows there's ghosts, but they also want to know what is going on and why, what they did, or even what their life was about. That's you kind of want to know that too. When you go into, say, you're sitting down in an investigation, you want to know what their life was about. How are you going to relate to it? I mean, how are you going to sit down and talk to them and say, I don't know, you liked coffee, maybe they liked coffee when they sat down and every morning or something, be like, hey man, I like to sit down and drink some coffee in the mornings too. Let's hang out. I don't
Absolutely.
know, you know what I mean? Yeah. So yeah, man, it helps out a lot. I agree with that.
It's not about the knock 3 times if you're here. It's
right.
the more meaty questions I like to.
No doubt. I get 1 or 2 good little the reaction questions, like at least to get an intelligent reaction, and then once it's there, shoot, I dig you right in then, and then they just might as well just start answering some crazy questions then.
I agree. I do ask the basic questions for fun though.
Oh, he's got it.
Dude, that's not my signature. You're already forging. That didn't take long.
No, your signature is sitting beautifully in here, man.
Yeah.
Sitting beautifully in here.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we like a good autograph here every now and again. We do,
buddy.
We got about 2 minutes, boys.
I was just
cool, man. I'm ready.
Reading the chat here. Eastern Washington is also on my list. There's about 4 or 5 places. As Katie was saying on the chat, I'll go to Eastern Washington. It's on the list.
By the way, Duke, Duke from World Bigfoot Radio says, Merle.
Everyone says Merle.
Off-World
Herd of
Adam,
cattle.
good to see you. Let's see here. Raztaz, thanks for coming on in. Oh, hey, Clam. It's Zaza. How are you? Jeez, we're sitting at 119 people right now. Merle, we may have a new record for you. Before we
It was 121.
Yeah, it was. All right, let's give a big shout out right now to everybody who has donated to the super chat tonight. Mr. Catfish ×2, Nikki Starr, Ibarata in Singapore, The Dirt Road, Fapster, and Ken in Texas. Thank you so much for supporting Spaced Out Radio. We really do appreciate your generosity. A great way to also support this show is if you're brand new, hit that subscribe button. We really appreciate it. We just passed 11,200 just today. We're at 11,217 subscribers as we continue to build on up here, and we appreciate it. And don't forget to ring that bell, as we are live every Monday through Friday night here, starting at 9 p.m. Pacific, midnight Eastern. We are about 15 seconds away from hanging on out and restarting with Nick and Merle here on Ghosts of the Great White North. We got a great audience tonight. Thank you, everyone, for tuning us on in. Robert Dixon, good to see you. Thanks for joining us. Spookles the Awesome Cat. Here we go.
You're listening to Spaced Out Radio with Dave Scott. Follow Dave on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Facebook, Spaced Out Radio Show.
Hour number 2 of Spaced Out Radio is now underway. Thank you so much for joining us. My name is Dave Scott, and we really do appreciate you listening on in for a night of ghouls, goblins, and ghosts. We want to say thank you to everyone tuned on in on our terrestrial affiliates around North America, digitally on TalkStream Live, Revolution Radio, and KPNL. All of our archives are free by going to youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Just do old Davey the favor, hit that subscribe button. The Desert Clam has set the password for tonight in the SOR Space Travelers Club. Redapertization. Redapertization is your password. Use it wisely, space travelers, as the Clam sets a password each and every night right here on Spaced Out Radio. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you, including rocking out to Bumblefoot and reading up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show. We continue on tonight with Ghosts of the Great White North from the Paranormal Road Trippers. My good co-host, probably the best paranormal investigator across Canada. We got Merle here, and joining us from A&E's Cursed, the Bell Witch Show, we have Nick T. White, who's now stationed out of Reno, Nevada. Gentlemen, welcome back to the show.
Thank you, buddy.
Thanks, Dave. So I just got a quick question for you. Been thinking about this. Since you have all your fans calling me Merle.
Yes.
Katy Perry calls her fans kitty cats.
Yeah.
And Lady Gaga calls them little monsters. So can I call the people that call me Merle? I could call them my herd.
The Merle herd.
Because the like the moo. Herd. Get it? See what I did there?
No, not at all.
Oh, come on.
I don't get it.
I'm with it.
I'm
with you, man.
The Merle
moo. I'm with you.
A herd of cattle.
Oh yeah. I get that now. That works for me. Merle, speaking of questions, Tristan has a question for you, and Nick, we'll get you to follow up with your answer right after this. Tristan is asking, Merle, what's your most chilling ghost encounter that you've found historical evidence upon research?
Well, in 2015, I was in a town called Barkerville, and March to be exact, and there was still a lot of snow on the ground, and I was with a previous team, and we were in one of the Tong buildings. So the Tong were Chinese immigrants working on the mines, the railroads, and all the gold claims at the time, back in the 1800s. And it was myself and another investigator. I was filming him while he was asking EVP questions and whatnot. And we went into the part where they eat, like the kitchen area, a common room. And he said, "Are any of you people in here?" And in my mind, I'm like, "Oh, you can't say that like that nowadays." And all of a sudden, he's like, "Dude, it's getting cold in here, colder than how it's been. And then he said how he just felt like he walked through cobwebs. Then all of a sudden, people who investigate will understand what I mean when the energy shifted. Like, you're all, oh, this is fun. Let's film our friends trying to get some evidence, to more of a serious tone right quick. And all of a sudden, he started to freak out and flail his arms, flail his body, saying his back was burning. And then he ran outside like a bat out of hell. And then he left me kind of alone in there, and I go follow him outside, and then I turn the light on my camera, and he had already taken his shirt off, started to take almost off, and he had 3 giant scratches on his back. And the more eerie, scary part of that is they were fresh scratches. And when you accidentally scratch yourself on a berry bush or whatnot, you can see the bump raising of where you've made your skin angry. It was like 3 10-inch long scratches on his back, and you can just see them raising from irritation. That was pretty chilling to me. I didn't know what to make of that, because he was a pretty straight edge, honest guy. I was with him the entire time, and to see the fear in that man's eyes when that happened got real right quick.
How about for you, Nick?
What was the question?
In regards to, let me grab it here for a quick second here.
Okay. I got interested in his story and I lost the question. Man, that's pretty wild, man. That story, that's insane.
Yeah.
That's some scary stuff right there.
It was in regards to, let's see here, about your weirdest, scariest experience that actually showed evidence of history as well, from Tristan.
That actually showed evidence of history as well. Well, I can tell you there's one spot that was kind of a little mixed history, kind of got me a little surprised. This one's a little bit of more of a known place, which I try to not really name a lot of known places, because that's where I try to go, is where people don't usually go. But the Wheatlands Plantation, that's in Sevierville, Tennessee. And I was going there first just because of where I'd heard a little about it. I wanted to kind of go up there, check it out. There was, of course, a little bit of paranormal history, and there's a lot more history there with the Native American massacre and things like that. The Cherokee Trail of Tears. There's a lot of other kind of stuff like that went on through there. But I'd went there a few times, and this one time, this fella, the guy that was curating, was telling me that this spot had apparently, I didn't verify all of it completely, but I did some of it, that there was apparently 5 different vortexes on this whole property. And they were, apparently having all kinds of different stuff, everything from, there was slave issues there. There was like a voodoo queen priestess or something that was haunting the area. And you guys can actually dig into this. It's the Wheatlands Plantation. I think some teams had went there before, but the thing that brought me about this up was there was a lady that after Katrina was screaming for her husband at the Wheatlands Plantation. That was to do with this Katrina. There was questions that was involved that was seeing. This is what even got even more me thinking about the Einstein-Rosen bridge, the wormhole, and trying to dig into more of the multiverse and stuff, because you got something like this, this lady that had died in Katrina, that is in a completely different area, that is trying to find her husband that apparently had died in the same area, that's not even in the same area anymore. That kind of stuff, it's a little surprising. Now, I can tell you something, seeing that to me, it was a little bit of a history, because it kind of got me more digging into, like, how in the world is somebody from Katrina or any of that other stuff. Like, there's a lot more at Wheatlands Plantation. I really, really wish I could have dug into that, because the fellows that had owned it before had to let it go. And then I think somebody like lives in it now, which I have no idea how, because there's like dogs that haunts the area. Like, somebody had visited the area and took off, and then, like, say 2 or 3 hours down the road, they called back to the place and told the fellas that she had a dog or like something like panting in her back seat, like, and then she had no dog or nothing like that. And she was like, "Well, I think your ghost dog came with me." And he literally called the dog by name, and this thing started scratching around in the kitchen back where he was, and it was gone out of her seat. Things like that. That's what gets me. I'm like, dude, how does that even happen? Like, that kind of stuff. Now, something scary. when I was younger, this is one of the scariest moments that I've ever had. When I was younger, me and my best friend used to walk around the railroad tracks a lot when we lived in near Nashville, near Smyrna, Tennessee. And there was this warehouse that was abandoned for a long time, and there was a residential right beside of it, people hearing things and having issues, stuff like that. But no electricity, nothing like that, nowhere, nothing. Nobody even went to this place in, I don't know, probably 50 years or more, at least 50 years or more. And apparently somebody had recently, before we even went over there was like some pushing or some kind of stuff, people getting attacked, things like that. Started having more issues and stuff. This is kind of when I kind of got more of that protective mode into the paranormal field than just kind of looking around for stuff. And we got in there, and I mean, I don't jump on the demon train very easily. And I don't really know even if this was what that was, but I'm going to tell you it's something pretty blame evil that was enough to have me perked up pretty well and had my butthole puckered, ready to rock. So I got back in the back of this warehouse, and it's this back room. There are no lights. It's kind of like a cubicle, just shut off, one door, all that in the back room. So here I am doing like I am. I'll go in anywhere. I don't care. I'm not scared. I'll go into whatever. So here I am by myself in the back of the warehouse. My buddy's outside. I stand up next to the wall because I always try to put something behind my back. I don't know if that's just natural reaction or military, but I always try to put something on my back so I know something ain't getting me. Next thing I know, I start hearing little cracks, crinkles, whatever in the floor, kind of walking towards me a little bit. I kind of spoke out, asked a few questions. I can't tell you what I asked. I can't remember, so I don't want to tell you. Probably to the effect of, is something there, something, what's there, things like that. Once it got a little bit closer, it was probably a good foot away from my face. And easy way to describe it, when a horse does this kind of like a, like that kind of thing, it was like that kind of breathing on my face, and I felt the air from it, and literally looked into something in the eyes that was, I could see through red. No, I couldn't see no figure, no nothing, just see through reddish kind of stuff, breathing on my face. Had me scared, just, scared. I was just about to cuss again, but just really scared. So next thing I know, the only thing I knew what to do, even at that time, I said, Lord, I said, help me. I need help out of this situation. I don't know what to do. And somehow it just felt like I was funny example, but I'm a big nerd. So I felt like Iron Man putting on this thing like a friggin' armor, and stood up and felt like I wanted to fight this thing. So I just started walking toward it like you would like a dog, like you would a dog, like walking towards it, and literally just walked out of the room and got out of that thing as fast as I could and went outside. But I went back after that and started doing more investigations. Never really did come across that thing alone, but there was a lot of more other things picked up. We got shadows and other things like that. But literally, that's probably one of the most scariest, besides being a part of that Bell Witch cave, that I've ever had to deal with. That's not like a person, or like being shot or something like that.
For those of us who don't know about the Bell Witch, I would love for you to explain the history of this really eerie tale.
I can tell you a little bit because there's so many different theories out there. I can tell you what I've learned and my theory on it, and the few things that I've learned. My own experience, what I've learned is the few theories that sound more plausible. One actually is there's a movie actually made out of one of the most famous theories, and that was An American Haunting. It's got Sissy Spacek, Kiefer Sutherland, and all that in there. That's one of the more famous theories, with the demonic entity the evil entity that's supposedly the quote unquote Bell Witch, Kate Batts. Has supposedly she had been picking. Well, they had thought that she was a witch because she was one of those old school herbalists. She was a medicine person, and she would help people. And so, of course, way back when, they're going to immediately think anybody out of the ordinary is grabbing weeds and stuff out of the forest and bringing it to help people. They're going to be like, witch. So that's that. And of course, sometimes she'd scream out saying, hey, I curse you, you this and that. There's other theories, some that about like John had like land issues with a lot of folks. Even with her, there was issues. Another theory, something about like Kate Batts and him had some kind of like a love affair that had some kind of something going on as well. I mean, there's so many different other theories, but what I experienced myself when I went there was I did pick up a few voices on the show and off of the show at the John Bell gravesite alone. When I went to the cave itself, I had to have an entity pulled off of me because I got too excited to be on TV. And one of the main things that I always tell people is you got to protect yourself. And how funny that I got too excited to be on TV and I didn't protect myself. But it's a powerful place there, the Bell Witch Cave itself, because there's Native American aspects to this whole story. The main thing to me is there's no real technical Bell Witch. Kate Batts might have had issues and things, all that, but she was a wonderful woman. She helped people. She got a bad rep just because they didn't know what in the world things happened back then. They even on our show, we had some like distant family members, and they'll tell you the same thing. It's just, people had just a wrong idea back then. But what to me is it's a Native American thing. The young boy, Drury Bell, had went with his buddy to the mound, which was right above that cave, and took out a skull, had teeth, all this, and took that out of that gravesite and took it back home. So immediately of course you're going to have something going on. I mean, so never did, like, they dropped some teeth, they dropped some stuff, lost a skull, lost some bones. I don't know exactly what it was, but they lost some of it, didn't get it all back. And of course then stuff started happening. So, I mean, of course there's going to be things happening. You take things out of a Native American burial ground. I mean, it's got protection alone already. And you're disrespecting family and ancestral burial, something's going to happen too. So that's, to me, that is what the Bell Witch story is all about, is you've had some kids, made a mistake, grabbed some things out of the wrong place, and didn't really know how to put it back the right way, and just never did close that gate. And, that stuff just kept coming through. And, there's the Native American sentinel that's in the cave that's protecting the rest of the entities that's in there. So, I mean, there's more to dig into that place. And hopefully, that'd be cool if I could get back there. That'd be wonderful. But if I can, it'd be wonderful, if we can get some more people down there to really dig in and see what's going on. If we can maybe at least appease the spirits there, because like I said, I've got Cherokee in my family, and I found out I may have Apache as well. So, I mean, I want to, make sure that the land and the people as well is at peace, not just, us that's living. It's more about a whole, not just us.
In your episode, because of the Bell Witch, you guys are by the gravestone, and the truck alarm goes off.
Yeah.
What can you run me through that? And was the back tail light busted?
Yeah, I sure can. When we was sitting there, we were actually in the middle of, I think we're doing a pendulum or something, and they were supposedly, this is what I was hearing from, and there's supposedly some of these locals that weren't really too happy about people doing some stuff in that area, because that area where we got, and this is one of the reasons that they didn't even show this, and they won't show this, so you'll notice how to actually get to that gravestone specifically. So you have that issue already. They had a little bit issue with some folks that had been there before doing some stuff, and they were kind of already a little bit on their edge with us. Then once we were in that middle of that investigation, next thing you know, you hear a crash. And then all of a sudden, and then you hear, wah, wah, and then it's it. I mean, then you literally see, the only thing that it didn't show that you didn't see is once we finally got up there, I kind of come around the corner and I saw where all that stuff was laying broke down. And then I just kind of let them know. And we just kind of ended up cleaning up and taking off, get out of there as quick as we could. But I mean, it's the kind, it's not really down in anybody. Sometimes people are very protective over stuff, and some things don't really need to be, trampled by a lot of people. So, I understand. I don't have no issue with that. They didn't hurt us. They didn't hurt no person. I mean, if somebody wants to break a tail light's fine, as long as they didn't hurt nobody down there. And I mean, you got 3 military guys down there, so I'm sure they wouldn't have bothered us too much. But, but yeah, it was pretty wild, man. It was a weird experience, because I mean, we're down there just trying to, do our thing, do some filming, learn some stuff, have a good time, talk to some ghosts and stuff, and then you get this kind of more of a realistic aspect of something. Now you got to put your ears up a little bit for some more dangerous things. That's more physical, and you got all these random people running around that's doing camera work, and then you got some out that's out in the darker areas, and you can't tell if they're going to be that kind of stuff. It's a little iffy, but we was all safe. It's something we got in and out, and that was it. And then we went to the cave, and there were people around there, so it was good to go. Plenty of people.
Even though you had a bloodline family member with you on that investigation, the locals still didn't like you being around there?
Well, mine doesn't. It's just Cherokee, and not really technically there in that. It was John. John.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, see, John, he was a direct descendant of Betsy, and let's see, Robert Bell. He was a direct descendant of John as well. But it's just something about that that aspect of being somewhere in an area where people don't want you to be and don't want other people to really know about. Because, you know, and especially once you get some folks that kind of go through and cause a bunch of problems, and then kind of it's already gets them a little on edge. And then, you know, you come through and kind of seem like you might be doing the same thing. And it's just kind of one of them, you know, you just kind of have to, it's just be real careful. You just got to be respectful, tell everybody, be open about everything you're doing. And that's why I always tell anybody, you go on these investigations, whether you're doing TVs or you're filming or you're just doing your own thing, make sure you go straight to the people that own these places or straight to the top and talk and tell them, let them know. You know, like I was telling you about the Virginia City, I know this is kind of funny, but I walked into the sheriff's office when I went to visit. Like I felt, and I walked in kind of funny, like I took my hat off, put it down. I said, well, I felt like I just need to let them all know I was in town. But, you know, it's kind of the same thing. You know, it's just all about, you know, telling everybody where you're at and just be safe. Just be safe where you're at.
That EVP you guys got, did it actually say Betsy, the one on the graveyard?
Oh man, dude, I had one say Betsy. I had one after everybody. This is the coolest thing, and I wish I could have got them to put this on the show, but it was, of course, wasn't on film. Right after everybody kind of geared up, we put up, because we had a van. Let's see, we had a van that had our equipment, and then we had two other vehicles that was out in like the edge of the forest area where we were at, where the farm and stuff was. And once everybody's packed up, I was like, well, I'm going to run over here. I'm just going to kind of sit down just for a minute or two and see if I can catch anything. And I went back, and literally, like, I had this dude talking to me almost intelligently. Wow. And like, it was amazing. That gravestone. See, the thing was about that gravestone, that was not even the original gravestone. Like, that had been stolen and replaced. So like that, I mean, just that whole area. So that's just tells me like the area, because I even walked away a little bit and still caught another something. I couldn't hear what that one was, but man, it was something else, that area right there. And then catching all that extra stuff. And then in the cave, we got grabbed on our shoulder. Me and Chad got grabbed on our shoulder, and they didn't show that on the show, as well as me getting sick, which was kind of weird, but hey, you know,
that's good footage.
Yeah. But it's part of it.
Did you take anything home with you? Like, did any of the residual energy?
No, that, like I said, like the little bit of stuff I had to get pulled off of me, I got that junk off of me before I got too far, because I at the time lived with family and stuff like that, and I'm not trying to bring none of that around. I might be able to cleanse it off or fight it eventually, but that's just something I don't want to bring around to other folks.
What do you do for protection? I think Dave said we have 2 minutes, 90 seconds.
90 seconds. Well, this is what I do. We just start doing like the micro machines guy, you know, talking. No, but the most thing is of course I'm an ordained minister, so I work with the Lord a lot. He helps me a whole lot. But I'll tell you, the other few things is I've got into crystals and stones a lot, because there's a lot more to those than a lot of people think. I dug in more on the science end, because I've started calling myself more of a scientist, because of the stuff that I try to lay out as more of a scientific explanation of things. Stones, like these different stones, amethysts, crystal quartz, rose quartz, just, you know, all these different types. These things are like battery capacitors. When you sit them out under the sun or the moon, whether it be solar energy or gamma radiation from the moon, they collect this type of energy. And whether it be something that may protect you against some kind of say, quote unquote, evil entity, it may give a natural fight against a unnatural energy, just like two magnets that are a different polarization do. Like, that's how sometimes those energy do, because this negative energy, like even when people use sage, it's the same difference. Like, that's cleansing negative energy in the air, not just like, say, bad ghosts. Like, it actually cleanses bad energy, like your bad, negative energy. So it's the same difference. I'm losing my train of thought because my cat got up here. Cat?
That's all right. Gentlemen, I'm going to get you to hold on right there, because we are going to go to break here at the bottom of the hour. Ghosts of the Great White North with our good buddy Merle from the Paranormal Road Trippers, based out of Vancouver, British Columbia. Also, paranormal investigator Nick T. White out of Reno, Nevada, via Tennessee, via A&E's Cursed the Bell Witch. We're talking more ghost stories with you on Spaced Out Radio when we come back.
cat.
All right, boys, we're clear.
The cat's
I'm going to
turn it
go
off.
refill my drink.
Oh, Merle, before you go, I do have a question from Timber Hunter in the chat room. And Timber Hunter was asking you, how many shots does it take to take down a demonic grouse staring you down in the middle of the road?
As many it does his other knee.
13 shots, eh?
It was 2.
It's 13.
No proof.
We have eyewitness testimony.
No proof.
I was
That's
cheering on the
not
grouse,
real.
and you were telling me to shut up, and I was cheering on the grouse at
Nope.
this point after shot 9.
I do not recall of this time.
Oh, I recall. I totally
don't
recall. Go
I
get
do
your
not
drink.
recall.
Go get your drink. Oh, Merle. We decided to take Merle hunting one time. Up here, we were looking for grouse, and well, I was the spotter because I don't have my
So
hunting
before I go, I will defend myself. And the old timber hunter gonna need a new knee now. Other knee. Agrees that the red dot scope that was on the 22 was not sighted in. That's all I'll say. So this whole story's irrelevant. Next story.
13 shots. And the stupid part about it is the grouse didn't move off the road. It stood there. It stood there like, if I don't move, they won't see me. Right in the middle of the road.
That sounds interesting.
Merle
I'd like to check that one out.
Merle got about 15 feet away from it before he finally got dinner. 15 feet.
That's wild.
Yep.
Why doesn't Timber Hunter tell the story of me doing the 200-yard shot with one bullet? That's a better story.
Nobody was there. Nothing recorded. We don't know if that happened. I'm just saying. We don't know if it happened or not. I wasn't there. I didn't see it.
Proof, he says. Proof.
Where's the proof? Timber Hunter's responding here, Merle. Timber Hunter's responding. Gross gave Merle the old stink eye. That's right. That's right, Timber Hunter. That's right. Little Marky Spender right there. Oh, yeah. That was fantastic. That still makes me laugh. What? More like what doesn't Dave smoke? Dave only has a cigarette and the odd cigar. The odd cigar. Dave doesn't smoke anything else. No hippie lettuce for this guy. Or anything stronger. Let's see here. Merle, are you back?
Yeah, I am.
Why did you turn your camera off?
I got up.
Is that so we couldn't see your chair?
Maybe. Why's your camera off?
My camera's on.
How do you know?
Because I could see the blue lights on it.
Interesting.
It's amazing how many people who come into my chat room think I'm a pothead because I live in BC. Not everybody in Canada smokes pot, man. Some of us are lame.
There's nothing wrong with that, though.
I have no
That's a
problem
good thing sometimes. Helps to ease the mind.
You know, we're already getting forest fires up here.
Wow, already?
Yeah.
Good Lord.
We had 6 feet of snow in certain areas here. and we're already getting brush fires up here. Like it went like it's like 3 weeks previous, it was like minus 20 degrees Celsius, and now it's like 18 degrees Celsius above zero. We're getting fires already. All right, guys, hold on. We got 10 seconds. And hey, Stetson John, how you doing, buddy? Olin, thanks for coming on in. Vinster, thank you for joining the super chats. Here we go, everyone. The second half. We pass the halfway point of Spaced Out Radio tonight. My name is Dave Scott. Thank you so much for tuning us in. We really do appreciate earning your listening ears. We want to remind you that if you've missed portions of this show or others, check out our free archives by going to youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do old Davey the favor, hit that subscribe button. Our website, spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you, including rocking out to Bumblefoot and reading up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show. We continue on with Ghosts of the Great White North. From the Paranormal Road Trippers, based out of Vancouver, British Columbia, height unknown, weight unknown, we got Merle. And from Reno, Nevada, weighing in at 210 pounds, 6'2", military veteran Nick T. White. They are a tag team of paranormal stories for you, and we appreciate having these guys on. Gentlemen, welcome back.
Thank you, Dave. Can we come out just to cult music?
Nothing original. Nothing original, eh?
Let's go to the Bell Witch Caves. Let's roll there. Tell us about the cave.
Oh yeah, let's do that. I'm ready for it. I can tell you a lot about that stuff. Have you ever got to go in anything like that, like a cave that's had like a haunting or anything, any monsters or anything like that?
I've had no cave monsters. Nope.
No, it's pretty wild, man. Before I even got to go there, which I really felt blessed to do it, because I mean, I grew up there right beside of Nashville in Laverne, Tennessee, and that's barely like an hour or so away. Heard about this place for just years on end and just never got to go. And then just lucky, I think it's just pure luck. That's how I got it. They just called me and said, hey, we heard you're investigator. You live near the area. Could you help us out? And I said, yes. So that's kind of how I got to go. And I felt blessed to get to go. And then once I did, it was something, man. Just walking into the front door, there's like a gate like kind of thing. And as soon as you walk through that little threshold of the gate of that cave, I mean, it feels like you're just getting pressured, like you're getting smushed, like a car would go up in one of them little guys that goes before you throw them away, just smush them down. That's what your body feels like when you first walk into that first little threshold. Wow. It goes through like a small little, like a little aisle, like a hallway-ish, I guess it's the easiest way you could call it. And then it opens up. When you get to that first little spot where it opens up right there, I mean, you feel something. I felt something kind of towards the right side of that cave, because people even had talked about like there's apparently some kind of vortex or wormhole or something to that effect in that area. But it feels like just a static charge to me. So I don't really know what I was feeling or what I was seeing. But then to the left of that is where this small little like a gravesite spot is. And what the lady had said, it was like it was a young girl. Well, throughout this whole time we were there, I kept seeing this young girl. It's funny that they said that it was John that was seeing her, but that's TV for you. But I seen this girl a few times, saw her at the hotel before we even went to the cave. I saw her at this little house before you go down the little path down to the cave, and I also saw her at the cave. And then I ended up finding out once we got in there, when we're having that little small interview, I got a clip of this actually on my YouTube where we're standing there and she's telling us a little about that spot. Well, then come to find out that could have been that girl. So, and then the lady, Chris, she tells us about like she had saw some, she couldn't tell if it was a boy or a girl, but she said long hair. So who knows? But like this person had walked into like a wormhole or something, like behind something, but it was nothing there. So, I mean, just that already before I even got in. And then once we got back further in there, we started getting all kinds of sounds. I heard this crazy scream way back in the far back. I don't even know what that was, because once you get back to this thing, it's called the flow stone. It gets really thin and you can't really it just gets entirely too dangerous for us. But when we got right before that, even myself and Chad, I was kind of mentioning earlier, we're standing there in front of like this gap, this opening where a lot of wind was coming through, stuff like that. And literally at the same time, him and I both got grabbed on the shoulder, on the right shoulder, his right shoulder, mine both. And we both pulled around, all this at the same time. Like, and this is what another stuff they didn't show on TV. And this is what got me. I'm like, you showed a few things, which is cool, but you guys didn't show all, like, there's some stuff that really went on that they didn't. And that's what kind of got me about not being able to do a second season. I guess it was some contract stuff with the production groups or whatever. It wouldn't have nothing to do with us, but that's out of my pay grade. But to be able to get into that place, to dig into further more, especially with the Native American aspect, you have all that. You have the Sentinel, which every single time that we would try to talk to something, we would say something about a Sentinel, and then we even hear Sentinel over an EVP. So, I mean, see, things like that. And then we catch random voices in these different areas. And then that one said blood owned. I mean, and especially with John being part of that family. But see, that's what gets me with that. See, I don't know if it's, maybe they still have this issue with Drury and them dealing with that. So they're pissed at the family. So they're just, you got that bloodline. Blood owned. Maybe they just are like, well, you're blood owned. We own you too. I don't know how, we didn't dig further into that, but that's the kind of stuff that we found there. And I really, I hope I can get to go back, or at least I can find, some people that might, have went. I can learn some more of some of that stuff, because it's an interesting place, that cave, man.
Merle?
I want to go to the cave, man. How far did you guys go into there? Like, I saw you, like, I watched the episode obviously I watched your show. I'd also seen the Ghost Adventures version of the Bell Witch haunting. What would you say is the biggest difference from, because since you've been there, you can tell, you probably have a better opinion on that than I ever would.
Well, I think they stopped before we went further back, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. I think they stopped in that first huge little area that I was telling you about, where that vortex and felt was, and that girl's grave was. Mm-hmm. And then right there, right where, it's been a while since I've seen the Ghost Adventures episode, but I think right where they went with a fella that was related to the family or something, I think. And like he was standing in front of the area where like there was some rocks thrown or something. There was a rock thrown at us through that little hallway. And I actually take my full spectrum camera. All the full spectrum you see on that show is me filming that. So that when we walk back through there, it's a little teeny little tot, as small as I am, and he's BSing you. I ain't no 200, so I'm probably a 160 soaking wet. But I couldn't barely fit through that little hallway, and it felt like I was getting closed in. But that's when I was telling you about the flow stone. Once you get back, once you can finally squeeze back through, and then you'll see, even on the episode, you'll see John walk kind of up a little bit. And then he kind of get up. It's like he walks up steps kind of toward. That area right there is where we caught the EVP. That's where when I would say, hey, do you recognize him or this family? That started going off on all this different random stuff. And that's where me and Chad walked up and stood in front of that little spot and got grabbed both by the shoulder at the same time. But the thing is, see, when they went in, they did a different kind of thing. They took in infrasound, and they did a different type of investigation. See, some people have issues with them, but I don't have issues with them. They go in there, they do their thing, they know what they're doing, they go in and go out. Why I have an issue. But it's just different types of investigations and the way that people do things. I think they learned a lot. It actually helped me a little bit to go when I went, because I went after they went. They were there maybe a year or two or so, give or take, a little before I was. So I got a little, I learned a little from them actually. So it was kind of helpful to me for the guys to even get to go and do that.
That was like when I went to, well, like I said earlier, Wolf Creek. I think Ghost Adventures was there 6 months to a year before I went, and we had tried to call out some of the spirits they were dealing with too. We didn't get the same evidence, obviously, and there's different stories and urban legends of that place. But with John at the Bell Witch Cave, being blood, how was he after the investigation? Did they latch on to him more? Were they more focused on him energy wise or anything?
To me, for like, yeah, I can answer that really easily. That when they called me to be the investigator, that's what they were kind of wanting to find out, and that's what I believe. I think it was more focused around him, because it seemed like whenever he was there, specific things would be going on. But if we were in a different spot where he wasn't, it wasn't the same. And every time that, like, even when they were staying at their house, where I mean wherever he was at, and then his son too, you know, like his son, this is the main reason even for the show alone, was because his son was starting to deal with stuff. So we was trying to get it cut before it even got to him, and then him dealing with stuff like that too. So it's to me, in my complete, like, as an investigator, to answer that one is, I think it's him. I think it's the blood. I think it's the family. I still think it's completely 100% Native American related, and I think until that family completely, and see, and now I hate to say this, but I don't think that they completely closed everything with our show. See, at the very end of that, they tried to do this effigy and to do a blessing with my buddy Willie Windwalker, and he's a shaman. Like, he knows what he's talking about, and they did not do. I mean, he told them what to do, and they didn't do it all. So I mean, there you go. For number one, there you go. You didn't do exactly what the shaman told you to do. They did a bunch of other stuff, and then I mean, I don't. But then after that, even still, he still, John himself, he looked like he was you know, he's sappy, his eyes, things like that. I've still taken contact with him, but then I lost touch for a little bit, and he seems lately he'd been doing better. He started, I think he's doing some other stuff now, but I mean, I don't think it's really off his family completely yet, but it seems a little bit better. It's not dealing with his son. I know his son. He's, you know, he's doing a lot better. Things is going on with him, but I think it's still. I think there's some still issues with John. I really do.
Well, that would be a good one to go back to see if you can help them to ensure that things aren't happening to them outside of the cave, the curse stuff. So you think it's a curse, eh? Like, you think that's
I think, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's a generational curse. I think the pastor did help a little bit, but I just think where they didn't cross all their T's and dot all their I's. I mean, sometimes, yeah, you can help with one spot, but man, there's some other little spots you need to get on real quick too. Just like that's why you need to get the shaman out there. There's specific people for specific things. If you don't get all the right people for the right things, or all the right instruments, or all the right materials for the right things, it's not going to close anything off. It's going to continue. So they didn't do everything they were supposed to do, and lo and behold, it's still continuing.
Do you think it was from the family beef of the buying and selling of the land for not fair prices way back in the?
No, I really don't. I mean, I really do. I 100% think it's all Native American related. I mean, that story there is all related around Cape Bats, and then lands with her, and then some of the issues around town and John and all that. But see, that's all got to do with just normal stuff that people live and breathe now. You know, people deal with stuff like that.
True.
And you got people, you know, cursing at people, saying, "Hey, I curse you. You're going to be dead tomorrow." But you know, now we know you're not a witch. You're just saying you hate them. You know, that's the difference now. So it's just a matter of the different era. You gotta just kind of look at it in that way. You know, we're looking at maybe 1,000 years ago compared to what we're looking at now, and just gotta kind of deduct it better in our way of thinking now.
What do you think
Makes
of
sense.
Pat Fitzhugh's research regarding Bell Witch?
You talking about a smart dude right there. He's done some of the best research you'll ever find. Now, I mean, I might know a little bit, but buddy, if you really want to know about Bell Witch and anything about that family, you sit down with him. He'll tell you every single thing you want to know and be glad to talk about. That's why I loved having him being a part of that, because when you have people that have a passion for the thing that they're learning about and the thing that they're purveying to you, Man, it was amazing. Yeah, I love him. I love everything about that dude. And he's got books, man. If you want to learn some more about that stuff besides what I'm talking about, man, look at his books. Find them online, his website, all that stuff, man. I completely recommend that dude completely.
What does he bring to the table regarding being an encyclopedia on this case?
Well, it's kind of the guy in the chair, kind of the quote unquote guy in your chair. I mean, he's got he's the researcher. He's your computer. When we get in there, if we're trying to find out, like how even Merle was saying earlier, that history of the location, for us as investigators to be able to tap into that, what may be there, we need to know these things, and we need these people that are passionate about these subjects, especially like this, that know what they're talking about. So when I go in and say myself, when I was doing it, I could say, hey man, look, I've had this issue. Is this related to her? Did she have this type of, and he can answer me. That's a huge asset for a team to have somebody like that.
Do you think, as we got about 8 minutes to go here before we go to break, do you think that this is a case that will ever see the action die down? Or is there still so much hype around this case that the energy will keep growing off of it?
It really depends on how it gets closed. I mean, if you get somebody like my buddy Willie Windwalker, to get out to maybe appease the land a tad bit, just to kind of calm some things down, maybe. But man, if you've got to close these doors. I mean, it's just everything's a door. You open it, it's going to stay open till you shut it. And it's the same difference with this, man. Until somebody truly, sits down and blesses the land, gives some, takes some tobacco or something to the spirits, or, something just to calm things down. I don't think it's going to end. No.
Merle.
The closing the door, and are you talking about going back there to cross things over, so to speak?
No. Just that's just kind of a in general kind of thing. When you start stuff until you really just kind of, calm things or close things out, it continues. That's just kind of it's a way of speaking. Like, I think that the way things will end, if it will, on that land, is if everything, if someone like Willie gets out there to be able to bless the land, to let the spirits and everything know that nobody's there to disrespect anything, and for just the peace of the people, because you're the people, your brain, your emotions control your surroundings. So it's all about all that stuff, man. It's a big thing, and I hope that it'll all end. But right now, I don't see it ending. But I don't, hopefully it ain't gonna hurt nobody. I hadn't seen none of that lately, which is good.
Is the current town affected by it still?
As far as I know, it's just on that farm. Yeah. As far as I know. Now, like I say, I hadn't been there. It's been, let's see, 26. It's been about 5 years since I've been there. So, I mean, I don't know what's happened since then, but when I was there at the time, it did kind of affect the town a tad bit, it seemed. Not real bad, but enough to notice. The energy, I tend to be a little sensitive on that stuff. And yeah, you can feel that kind of stuff all over the place. But hopefully now, yeah, I think everything like through the town seems like it's a lot better. I've even kind of kept up with some of that. Like even the town keeps building cool stuff, and it looks real nice. And so should be good to go, man. Hopefully stay positive about all of it.
When you work a case like that, how does it change the way you personally investigate? Because we can all go into something, but when we get to one of those cases where things get strange, things get weird, or something that we're not used to, it changes us. How did you change?
Well, the one main thing that got me especially was, the attachment kind of got me a little bit. That was a little bit. It made me straighten up a little bit and always remember to protect myself from now on. But I'll tell you, every single investigation, you're right, it changes me. There's a learning experience from every single thing that we do in the field, whether you're doing paranormal, whether you're a cryptozoologist, whether you're a ufologist, whatever you're chasing and going, it's going to affect you in one way or the other. And myself personally, I can tell you that no matter what kind of investigation I'm on, it's going to do something to make me know a different way to approach an investigation, or it's going to make me know a way to the things that I'm actually going out to investigate for, like what, what are we going to be in this next life? Where are we going when we die? That's that main thing. Where's that stuff? That's what I'm passionate about, that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm. But for you, did you end up becoming more emotional, less emotional, a little hardened, a little bit more wary?
Well, years ago, it got me kind of a little bit tough. That one experience I mentioned, that thing kind of breathing on my face. I saw a few other things similar, just not as bad as that, and it kind of got me a little kind of iron skinned to a lot of this kind of stuff. So it tends to be a little bit different when I go into investigations. I go in more. That's why I say I go in kind of serious, more like a military kind of. I go in and I'm just trying to find out, either if I'm going for a family, I'm trying to help them to figure out what's bothering them. If I'm going to a location for like just the experience alone, then I'm trying to figure out if I can tap the veil, because I'm still trying to break that multiverse. So I mean, there's always something different in each location that I can learn from and to make better for the next investigation.
Mm-hmm. When you're on an investigation as intense as the Bell Witch is, how do you find that rush in other locations?
I do that every time I go on any kind of anything, brother. That's I mean, literally going to study the history of a spot, getting ready to do paranormal, getting ready to go to a spot where there's any of that, man. I am just excited no matter what, whether it's the Bell Witch or I'm going down to a side house down the street down here, man. I mean, it's to experience that kind of stuff and to be able to be a part of that kind of stuff and to see it in myself. That's it's always going to be the same for me. I'm always going to be a giddy little school kid just getting in there and getting a part of it.
They all have cool stories that you want to investigate.
Yeah.
Do you ever get to the point, Nick, and maybe even you, Merle, that when you're working with people, and if whether they're on your team or you just happen to hop in with somebody, that you really, really, it's going to sound awkward, but you really watch what the other people are doing and you're like, really? This person is investigating like this? Or there's always the one person around that has to try and be the big shot on an investigation. For people getting into ghost hunting, so we got about 2 minutes to go here. Nick, how do you deal with that?
Oh, brother, you catching me at the greatest question in the world for the least amount of time for me to answer that.
Well, we can continue on with that.
I can, yeah. We'll definitely let's let Merle answer that one, and then I'll get on because you know me already. I can talk it out, but yeah, I got some stuff for that one, brother. Let's let Merle hit that one up.
Let's both hit that one at 11 o'clock. That's a good question because I think Merle can say more than 15 words to that one. Sure.
Right. He's pulled out some good questions now, ain't he?
It is. That's a strong question.
Yeah, it is.
But hey, guys, we still got 90 seconds to fill here first. But, for me as an outsider, now, Nick, I am not an investigator, okay? I have gone on investigations. I've gone out with Merle. I like going out because I have my own curiosity. But I am not an investigator. I don't try and play the role. I don't wear the headbands. And I have no fancy T-shirts or sweaters or hoodies that signify I'm part of a paranormal team. So taking all that in aspect of everything, I think that, you meet people all over the world doing this. And it's funny, they immediately have their backup, like, oh, who are you? If they haven't heard from you. And immediately you start to get this attitude like, well, I am very good at what I do, and this is how I do things. Like almost like trying to express an overconfidence that they know what they're talking about, but they end up just looking like real idiots and morons.
Do you know what it reminds me of, Dave? I use this analogy quite a bit now. You know the movie Anchorman?
Yes.
In the alley when all the different news stations meet and they battle it out? That's exactly what it is. It's exactly what it is.
You got that right. Gentlemen, I'm going to get you to hold on right there.
Every time.
Exactly. Little Black Panther right there for you. Made of real Black Panther parts. Gentlemen, I'm going to get you to hold on right there. We are going to go to break here at the top of the hour. We have Merle, we have Nick T. White on for another 30 minutes here on Spaced Out Radio. Before we get to the bottom of the hour, where we'll go to the SOR News Wire and the Thought of the Dave, stay tuned. Spaced Out Radio continues right after this. Guys, I'm just going to run the dogs out. I'll be right back. You guys chat away with YouTube.
All right, buddy. I'm going to hit the bathroom real quick myself. So let me take a quick break myself. Merle, I hate to leave you alone, buddy. You look like you got a cool little background there. Some stuff behind you there.
What is my background?
You got a house and you got some snow.
Oh, that's
like,
the 108 Mile Ranch. That's actually Dave's neck of the woods.
Oh, it's nice back there.
That's where I had one of my most scariest encounters of all time.
Oh, so it's kind of nice.
It's beautiful looking until you go in the building.
Oh Lord.
Yeah, one of those.
Oh no. All right, well, I'll be right back, buddy.
Sounds good. Half an hour left. If anyone has questions for us or the guest, put them in the chat and I or Dave will ask them. The grouse story is a little exaggerated on Dave's part. Did not happen exactly like that. And the red dot sight was loose on the rail.
Word up.
You're back. Excellent.
I am back. That worked out well.
So you served in the military.
I did, brother. I did.
How long were you?
I was actually, I feel like I was in forever because I was actually in high school as well. I was in the ROTC. But I was a 68 Juliet. I was an armament and missile systems mechanic on Cobra helicopters.
Oh,
Did
wow.
all like the radar guidance and things like that.
Cool.
It was really fun. I had a blast with it. Definitely. What's up?
Oh, did you go overseas and all that fun
No,
stuff?
trained, and more trained, and then I trained some more, and then I got moved over to somewhere else to train some more. It's kind of how I kind of got in right after the desert desert storm, and then I got out right before the Iraq stuff started. So
Okay.
it kind of was like I was like right in the middle.
Fair enough.
But
Good.
I did get to learn a lot, and then I got to train some folks and myself a little while, and I got experience and made some brothers and sisters for life, and
Awesome.
it was cool, man. I had a good time.
Good.
All right, boys, we got about a minute and a half here left. I just accidentally sat down on my chair and gave a little butt crack to the audience there. That's always
saw.
fun. That's always fun. That's always real nice. You just can't unsee that, you know. And the thing is, when something happens like that, you got to own it. You just got to own it.
Oh yeah, for sure.
You know, like you just can't do it. You know, hey, couple of moons there. You know, I'm sure the clam will go back and screenshot that. That's for sure.
Make it into a meme. Start sharing it around.
Yeah, it happens. It happens. Hey guys, I want to give a big thank you to everybody supporting this show tonight. Andrew, Mr. Catfish with a hat trick, Vinster, Ken from Dallas, Fapster, Dirt Road, Ibarata, Nikki Starr for the awesome and amazing super chats tonight. That stuff really helps what we do here on Spaced Out Radio on a nightly basis, as well as everybody giving us a thumbs up, thumbs down, hitting that subscribe button, sharing the show on social media. You know, thank you so much for all the love and support you give us on a nightly basis. We really do appreciate the love. We're going to kick off hour number 3 right now, guys. Hold on.
Would you like to connect with us? Head to spacedoutradio.com for all your latest show info. Now, back to Dave Scott and SOR.
Here we go with the third and final hour of Spaced Out Radio tonight. My name is Dave Scott. Thank you so much for taking the time to tune us on in. We really do appreciate earning your listening ears. We want to say hello to everyone tuning us in on our terrestrial affiliates around North America, digitally on TalkStream Live, Revolution Radio, and KPNL. All of our archives are free for you by going to youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Just do old Davey the favor, hit that subscribe button. The Desert Clam has set the password for tonight in the SOR Space Travelers Club. Redapertization. Redapertization is your password. Use it wisely, space travelers, as the Clam sets the password each and every night right here on Spaced Out Radio. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you, including rocking out to Bumblefoot and reading up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Instagram on Spaced Out Radio Show. For the final time tonight, we introduce Merle. You know him, you love him. He's from Paranormal Road Trippers, based out of Vancouver, British Columbia. We do this monthly segment called Ghosts of the Great White North, and we're really proud to have on from A&E's Cursed, the Bell Witch, Nick T. White. Gentlemen, welcome back to the show.
Thank you, buddy.
Thanks, Dave.
Now, Nick, right before the break, we had asked a question in regards to, you know, you go meet up with some ghost teams out there, and there's always that know-it-all out there who's trying to tell you how things go, how the paranormal works, how they do it, and their way is the only way that makes sense. And usually these people really don't have a clue on what they're even trying to solve. They really don't. How do you deal with the paranormal attitude out there?
Well, this is the way I look at it, brother. I can answer that very easily. Once you start worrying about what everybody else is doing in the field, you're going to lose what you're doing in the field. Period. There's been too many people out there that just does all this other, does one way, does the other, and then you have all these other people worried about one that says, oh, well, this one's better than that. They know this much. Everybody knows specific stuff. Now, who can tell me right now who told the first person how to do an investigation? There's no set way to do no investigation. You might have seen some on TV how other folks have done it. You might have seen friends or folks around you that see how they've done it. But there's no one way to do any type of investigation. And especially if you're going in an investigation, there's no telling what you're going to have. I mean, you're every single one is going to be different. So as soon as you go in there, it's going to be, there's all kinds of stuff you're going to have to react to. You're going to have to just do the random stuff. So there's nobody that's going to ever tell me that one way is better than another. You just kind of go and happen. Now, and then I'm not going to worry about somebody being better than I am. If I'm the type of person, especially as a leader on my team, if somebody has a way to do it, I'm going to say, well, show me. I'd love to. If you know a better way to do it, show me. And if it works, we'll do it your way. That's the way I like, it's all about working as a team, and especially in the field to me. That just having each different people, arguing over stuff is just, to me, it's just high school stuff. There's no need none of that. I mean, we're all trying to figure out one thing. What are these ghosts or UFOs or whatever field you're in? What are these things? Why, all these questions that an investigator does an investigation for. That's what we need to worry about. We don't need to be worrying about what somebody else is doing, how their equipment looks better, how their people looks better. They look like get bigger muscles, or they got prettier butts than I do. I don't. Then none of that matters to me. What matters to me is, are you a good person? Are you honest? Are you working towards the same goal that I am? And that's to make a better person, make a better life for everybody else, to help everybody else to be better people for themselves, to make a world better place. I know I sound like an old hippie, but what can I say? I am. I mean, there's been too much just bull dealt with, not just alone in the paranormal, but across this world. And if I can be one little part of making it any better, putting some hope in somebody's life or a smile on somebody's face, and to make somebody learn that working as a team is much better than trying to be better than somebody, then I will. And that's what my answer to that is, my brother.
How do we come together in this field? There's so much tension. There's so many different ways to investigate. There's so much going on politically, from people trying to lock down locations to locking down territories, bullying tactics. We see it all the time. Doesn't matter whether it's here in Canada or across the United States or the world for that matter. I mean, to me, that shows complete ego. It really does. And it's a real turnoff for me in even supporting the field. That's why I really, over the years, have shied away from doing a lot of paranormal. Like when I started this show, I loved the paranormal. I wanted to hear these ghost stories, but it got a little intense, man, because every time I'd book a show, if anybody was canceling, it was a paranormal group. Then you hear people complaining or saying that we conduct scientific investigation. And that they haven't conducted anything scientific since high school. You have all of these people. Like, I always say, this is my question to people. I always ask them, what do you do with your evidence? Well, we collect it and then we analyze it. Okay, well, what do you do with it afterwards? Well, what do you mean? Well, what do you do with it? Well, we store it. Okay, well, what are you storing it for? Because the majority of groups out there have no clue that part of investigation is to come to a conclusion.
Well, I'm there's 50-50 on that, though, brother. See, you got some out there that really are just going out for that evidence. You're not like how I always say myself, I consider myself a paranormal investigator, not a quote unquote ghost hunter, which there's no thing wrong with that whatsoever. To me, like a quote unquote ghost hunter, just, going out, you're hunting some ghosts, you want to get some evidence, you want to see some cool stuff, you want to experience the thing and go on. But then you have folks like myself or Merle, we want to dig further in. There's it's just a different type of folks. I don't look down on those folks one bit, because to me, if you're a part of the paranormal field, you're a part of my family. So that's, it's all a different way you're reacting to things. You know what I mean?
Oh, I understand exactly where you're coming from on that. And I don't disagree with you at all. But we also have to understand that these are some of the people who are going into people's residences or places of work.
Sure.
Okay. And
now that's different. Yeah. And if you've got people that's going in and you're taking like me, like if you're going in and taking cases actual and telling these families, hey, I'm there to help, and a family contacted you to say, hey, I've got this dark entity that's been scratching my child, can you come to help me? And they go and they get a picture or something and say, here, I found it, and take off. Those kind of people upset me and really bother me. If that's what you is that what you mean, kind of like that?
Yeah, I mean, look,
Yeah, see, that's
I have no problem with
yeah.
somebody going out investigating the paranormal just for fun,
Hmm.
because it is
Sure.
fun. It should be fun. But when you have people out there who are going out and, you know, they've all got their team shirts or hoodies on, and, you know, you go to their website, they all have to have the team skeptic, you know, which I think is hilarious. And to me, it makes a mockery of something that is, how can I put it? It makes a mockery of the field for people who are actually trying to solve things. There's a difference
It
between
can. I
there's a
agree.
difference between
It can.
playing ghost hunter and actually being an investigator.
So you know what would
Well,
be cool?
that's all in the training, though. That's a thing that goes back to training. It's all in the training. Is it because of the false knowledge that they've learned from a TV show that they stayed and watched one TV show and didn't learn from anybody else? It's all about the knowledge that these folks are getting to. Yeah, I do completely 100% agree with you. If you're taking cases and you're telling them that you're there, you don't take that case and tell them that's what you're going to do if you're not going to do that. But if it's some of them that is wanting to and have that intent of helping these folks, but just don't know, like how you said, what are you doing with your evidence? I don't know. Maybe it's something that we should put in that and maybe they should know. That's the thing. That's where I'm even at myself. You know, I want these folks. I want us to be able to work together and to teach people instead of showing people the infightings and the arguments and stuff. That's just silly stuff. We should be teaching the next Nikola Tesla or Hans Holzer to be, you know, to make a profound experience for the world. You know, like Elon Musk is making us a multiplanetary species. Who could be the next Elon Musk? That, you know, these folks that are watching us in the public eye for the paranormal field are learning from all of us. So it's a matter of leading by example and showing how we can all work together as a team for one goal, just like you play on a basketball team. You're all playing to win the game. Well, we're winning. To win our game is to learn what is the paranormal or whichever field you're in. What is it? Why is it? All the good questions. That's why we're investigators. That's what we should be worried about. We don't need to be worried about what everybody else is doing no more. That's what everybody worries about all the time. Worry about what our teams are doing, each other together.
See, in a
That's how we
perfect world,
help to do it.
in a
Yeah.
perfect world, I would like all team you don't need to measure whose K2 is bigger or
Right.
anything like that, right? In a perfect world, I'd like to see a team, like say I go to location B and I get some pretty cool evidence there that I log like your classic paranormal guy. But every location I go to, I do document everything, but I document everything as where I'm going to present it, and I'll give it to anyone to see because that's what we do. We present research. But then I would like the ability to call upon another team and be like, "Hey guys, you want to go check out this location? We were just there, and see if you guys can obtain the same sort of evidence, and maybe we can cross-reference what we've got and then present that to the client." But here it doesn't work like that. There's a lot of like that stupid turf war stuff and all that. I think it's ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
But you're right. We all are on the same team. We're all trying to find the greater goal with the paranormal. At the end of the day, we're just a couple of dudes sitting in a room talking to the air a lot of the time.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, I agree with everything you just said about we need to come up with the common, just everyone get along.
Yeah. It's kind of the old school. What is it? Why can't we all just get along?
No, the paranormal definitely needs a big hug. And you know, the other thing too that I see with it is there's some very brilliant and talented people in this field. And the
Yes.
majority of them are not big names. They're not people who are out running around trying to build the biggest group on Facebook or the biggest group in their state or province. They're not those people. They do their job quietly. I always point people in the direction of and I'll use David Weatherly as an example here because I do think that highly of him. You know, a guy like
Yeah.
David Weatherly, he's not seeking TV. TV seeks him out. All right. If you're good
Right.
enough, TV is going to seek you out. All right. And but with David, all right, he doesn't have a giant team. He has people set up all over the place that if he is in Montana or if he's in Manitoba or if he's in New York or Arizona, Nevada, British Columbia, he can immediately hook up with the people and say, look, I'm hearing this stuff out of this place. This is where I want to go. What do you know about it? Are you coming along with me? And that's how he
Yeah.
gets it done. And yet
Yes.
there's no ego involved. Nothing.
Yes, love it, love him, and love the group. And I've kind of done a little similar, and probably kind of because of him a little bit, as I've created the Cage of Darkness family, and there's different groups that's across the world, literally. That we don't change their name, none of that kind of stuff. It's kind of like the networking. Say there's somebody in Norway that has an issue. Well, literally, we have a team that we can contact and say, hey, man, can you get a hold of somebody or do something? And that's just like you're saying, David. See, everybody wants to help. It's all about help, man. We got to just work together, help each other, and get this stuff done.
And I fully support that. I have people like in Wisconsin and Washington, Oregon, California, all people that I can call if people come to me for issues, which they do sometimes, like on Instagram, that they'll message me and I'll point them in the direction of people in those locations. And that's what it's about, just helping people and pointing them in the right direction.
Well, you got another person to call too if you need anything, buddy. I got you back.
Likewise. It'd be good.
Right on.
Nick, I want to ask you this. What do you think we're missing in the paranormal to get more answers?
Heart, man.
Agreed.
We got to get. I mean, really. It's. I know I'm just going to beating the dead horse kind of thing, man. But it's just always everybody's just worried about everybody else. That's just the main thing. We just need some heart. We got to put our heart back in the right place. That's it. Sorry, I was cut it short real fast on that one. I was just kind of short and sweet on that one, wasn't it?
Yeah, no, and it's a great answer. But what about for investigation? Should we have goals? Every time we go out in that field, should we have goals on what we are trying to accomplish?
It depends on what you're doing. I mean, if you're going there as you're an investigator going for, a family, things like a cases thing, you're going for reasons. It just depends, man. It just really depends on what you're going for, in my opinion.
There's a big difference, though, between doing investigations for the sake of fun and doing investigations and helping people and solving little mysteries. What, in your opinion, what's the difference between the two?
Oh, I got you. Well, if you're there to solve stuff, then you're wanting to dig in further, like the research and to learn more and to further something. If you're there for an experience, then that's kind of a different experience. You're just there to get the thrill or to see something that you've never seen before, or somebody's told you, stuff like that. I mean, maybe that's how to answer that, I guess.
You know what's missing? What's missing that more teams need to do? The aftercare, the cleanup.
Yeah, no doubt.
No one wants to do the cleanup because that's the hard, that's the boring part.
Right. They just go in, say something, and take off. There's never that closure and that end, that finish.
No, every location, like the location I went to in the town on the Sunshine Coast here a couple of weeks ago, I messaged them every few days. Has anything new happened? What's any more activity? Because I care. I want to know. I want to make sure we didn't stir anything up for the negative.
Right. You followed up with them.
Absolutely. And we went back there in September, and I have them literally logging. Like I want them to log all of their activities from now until September. So then I have that piece of paper or whatever in front of me for when I finish doing my evidence review and everything I did, because then I can maybe come up with a conclusion of who or what or anything like that can be going on. Try to find consistency of the investigations. It's that one extra step that is lacking. A lot of people need, in my opinion, need to do more is the aftercare, the go back for like a secondary investigation to see if anything, depending on the evidence you got, will collaborate with a secondary investigation, or did the things move on, or did they get did they give me a message to give to the client and now they're resolved? There's so many questions, like, for the
Right.
app.
And well, it shows you care too. I
Yeah,
mean, I
absolutely.
mean, if you don't care about people, then you really, to me, I don't think it's hard to be a real actual investigator, like taking cases and things. I mean, when I, just like you're saying, if I'm going and there's many that I've done cases for that I, like you saying, like I'll call up once in a while and just, hey man, how you doing? Hey, what's up? How's things going? Things going good? Da, 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 da. And sometimes people just want to talk. So it's
Yep.
just like they're happy that you even, pretty much just give a shit to call them.
It's
They're
building a
excited about that.
relationship. Yeah, relationship and trust.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, people really appreciate that you care about them, and especially when you're dealing with like paranormal or something like that, because sometimes people are really already afraid to even talk about that kind of stuff because
Mhm.
they may be one of them ones that's really embarrassed to say, hey, I've got some weird ghosty, demonic, or something evil in my house, because they may think you're weird or something.
Mhm.
So I mean, they're already trying to get up enough courage to even talk to you in the beginning, much less anything else. So yeah.
100%.
We've got about just under 4 minutes to go here before we got to say goodnight to you guys. And Nick, I want to say thanks for coming on the show tonight. It's been absolutely fantastic to have you join Merle and I tonight. What's your year look like? What's your summer look like in the paranormal and trying to get things established in Reno?
Well, I'm actually going to be trying to move on up into Virginia City itself and really be a full part of the town. I've got a lot of plans for YouTube stuff. Yes, I do have a lot of paranormal. Of course, that's one of the most haunted places in the world in Virginia City. So there's a lot of cool stuff I've got planned out. I'll be talking to the Mackay Mansion. I've got talking with Scott, the owner of the Washoe Club. Have some plans. We'll be talking with him about few other things throughout the whole city. We'll be doing some stuff like that. I do have some TV stuff kind of in the works. I don't want to break any kind of stuff yet, so I don't want to say much yet. But yeah, hopefully you guys will see me doing some great things here very soon on the old TV, watching me run around being crazy. But other than that, man, I'm just trying to keep moving forward and help as many people as I can, and put as much hope in people's lives as I can, and just live another day, brother. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, I hear you. I hear you there. And how about for you, Merle? What do you got coming up?
Well, got something coming up with you, Dave, so TikTok on that. Got another thing coming up that I can't really speak about. Man, if COVID wasn't here, I would have been in the States probably 3 or 4 times already. And we do have a handful of investigations throughout BC, COVID depending, July and August.
Very
We're doing
cool.
we're doing a big Valley of the ghost hunt for about 2 weeks. All the different abandoned mining towns that are torn down and no one's there, ghost towns.
Beautiful.
Oh,
So,
cool.
Beautiful.
If there's one we can link up around in this area, maybe we can do like this communication, like how even the GAC guys did with like the Washoe and Mackey place. Maybe we can set up a line where I've got something here in this area somewhere and you've got something there, and maybe we can contact through, see if we can get an answer from here and there, something like that.
You had me at Washoe. I'm in.
Right on.
It doesn't take
Cool stuff.
much to get Merle excited. Gentlemen,
Nope.
I'm just going to get you guys to pause here because I want to let our audience know. I just actually found this out a few minutes ago. Our former guest, Nelson Dellis, he has tried to climb Mount Everest 3 times. Well, I just got a message from him this evening saying hello, as he is 2 days away from making his 4th attempt to try and climb Mount Everest. And
Right on.
and he's heading to base camp in 2 days to start his 4-week acclimation before starting his ascent, which will be probably in early to mid-May when the door opens up, because there's only a short window there. So we need everybody in Spaced Out
Wow.
Radio Land to send Nelson the power, the strength, and the ability to finally get on top of Everest.
Rock it out, Nelson.
Yeah, absolutely. I am so pumped for this.
Oh yeah.
We were going to do a paranormal investigation there with him, send him a bunch
Oh
of gear.
wow.
He said, dude, I was going to call you, but this happened so fast. I didn't have a chance to get a hold of you. And all of a sudden, boom, I'm on an airplane and I'm on my way to Everest. And this is where we sit. So we're going to try and hook up with him in the coming weeks here as he gets acclimated from base camp.
Can he
at
yell
Mount-
Merle from the top?
We'll see. We'll see. He's almost died twice, so hopefully he'll have
Wow.
time. Spaced Out Radio continues with the SOR Newswire and the thought of the day next. Good job, gentlemen.
It's a good show.
Thanks, sir.
Very solid, Nick T.
Absolutely.
White.
Oh, thank you, buddy.
No problem. No problem. That was a lot of fun.
Absolutely.
That went quick.
Very
Yeah, I
fast.
did.
Very fast. And I even showed my ass on the air.
Hey, just get anything for ratings, man. Why not?
I hear you. And of course, my resident desert clam caught a shot of it. He went back. I don't know how he does it so quickly, but he went back and screenshotted it. So thank you, Clam. Appreciate
Oh,
that.
fun.
And you got your YouTube super pay or super hyper thing for showing your butt.
Yeah, I did. It's awesome. Awesome. Nick, I hope you had a good time with us, man.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. I'm just glad to even be asked. And, man, we can do this anytime, buddy. Anytime.
Oh, for sure. For sure. That's going to be great. Absolutely going to be great. And I'm looking forward to it. And we'll stay in touch. And Merle, you make sure you get Nick's intel here. And that way you guys could stay in touch too. But, gentlemen, I got to go get ready for the news. Merle, we'll talk to you tomorrow or the next day.
Sounds
And Nick, thank you again, buddy. Great show.
Hey, thank you.
Thank you for making
I
us
had a
sound
blast,
good.
man. Oh, you should. You made me sound good.
All right, buddies. Take care.
Ciao.
All right.
Good night. Merle. Yeah, Nelson Dellis on his way to Mount Everest. 2 days until he's in base camp. God, I want him to do it. He's got 2 kids now. They're all cheering daddy on, his beautiful wife. I so want him to do it. I want it to be this time. Got to send him that positive energy. Remember, he almost died twice on the mountain. He almost died twice. We got to send him some love, man. Send him that strength and healing. So if you're into Reiki, if you're into long distance healing, send it to Everest, send it to Nelson. We got to get him up that mountain. We have to get him up that mountain. He's way too good of a guest. Could you imagine the interview that we are going to get with him when he makes it? When he makes it. Hey, Ross Lamba. Hey, Terrible Times. How are you? Mr. Cowley. Welcome back to the show. Oh, Mr. Cowley loves his spaced out radio. Yeah. Super Duke. Looking forward to Friday, man. Looking forward to Friday to have you on. Mm-hmm. God, I hope he does it this time. Going to. I can feel it. Totally feel it. Merle. all Merle, all day, all night. Good night, the gorgeous and talented Emily Bigelow, aka Alaska's greatest athlete. She's actually not going to bed. She's actually going to be heading to the bathroom to take her makeup off, to pull her hair up for the night, and to give her teeth a final brushing and flossing. Yes, that's what she is going to be doing. And she's still going to be listening to the show. She's just not chatting. That's what she does. He'll be starting in a couple of days, 2 days from now. I'm trying to line up to see if we could get him to chat. He's intermittent with me on Facebook right now. I'm going to see if we could get him when he's at base camp, even for a few minutes. Great show also, Dave. Last night was 101,000,000% dope. The mess. Well, let's do it twice. Good night. Good night. Good night. All right, here we go, everyone. We rounded third. We're heading for home tonight on Spaced Out Radio. My name is Dave Scott. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us. I really do appreciate earning your listening ears. Want to remind you that if you've missed most of this show or others, you can check out our free archives by going to youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do old Davey the favor, hit that subscribe button. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you, including rocking out to Bumblefoot and reading up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show. Speaking of the news, where do we got it here? Let's do it. The news is always changing, which is why we bring you the SOR Newswire at the back end of every show, where we get to the weird, the strange, the wacky, and sometimes the Canadian UFOs. Yeah, this one just coming down a few hours ago. Apparently on the morning of May 30th, 2016, an Air Canada Express flight from Montreal to Toronto reported it had crossed an unidentified flying object, round in shape, flying at approximate speeds of 300 knots, or more than 550 kilometers an hour, over 8,000 feet above Lake Ontario on November 14th of that year. 2 crew members were injured when a Porter Airlines plane dove to avoid hitting an object that appeared to be solid and shaped like an upright donut or inner tube. Yes, Vice.com is digging into this story right now, and this is the second one that this very talented writer by the name of Daniel Otis has been able to find out here. So these sightings in Canadian and international airspace around Canada apparently include a pair of WestJet flights near the Okanagan Valley, which is just south of me by about 4 hours, that allegedly saw a bright light, white strobe-type light above them on the night of March 16, 2017, and a pre-dawn January 10, 2015 encounter outside Regina, Saskatchewan, when multiple aircraft reported a very large object with a small white light in the middle, surrounded by a halo that appeared to descend from about 41,000 feet above. Yeah, the sightings come from the Civil Aviation Daily Occurrence Report System, otherwise known as CADORS, a searchable digital archive operated by Transport Canada, the federal department that oversees roads, rail, marine, and air transportation. With over 3 decades of data, CADORS contains nearly 300,000 aviation incident reports on everything from mechanical failures to rowdy passengers to bird strikes. It also provides a fascinating record of UFO sightings by professional aviators in Canadian airspace. Now, pilots are probably not reporting about 90% of the things they are seeing because they know it could have a lengthy career implication, said former RCAF pilot John Williams. Williams is an aviation consultant, television commentator, and civilian pilot who spent 36 years in the Canadian military, including over 2 decades flying fighter jets. He also worked as a flight safety officer at Transportation Canada for more than a dozen years. For most pilots, it's not worth it. That's why I believe, Williams said, that each of these guys saw what they reported. Although brief, Cador's cases can still be enigmatic, such as a single-sentence entry from the morning of October 25th in 2005, when air traffic controllers received reports from 4 different aircraft flight crews of a shiny silver object over Toronto at roughly 30,000 feet, which turned sharply and moved rapidly to the southeast over Lake Ontario. Many are scant on detail, like the one from the night of November 12, 2015, when an undisclosed flight of 34,000 feet above Saskatchewan reported a bright white light high above the aircraft and advised that it was not a meteorite or another aircraft, very explicitly using the term UFO, such as the Qatar Airways flight south of Grand Prairie, Alberta, that reportedly noticed an unidentified flying object in broad daylight on December 18, 2016, in an account that offers no visual clues. In a statement device, Transport Canada spokesperson said it is not in a position to discuss individual aviators' observations at this time. Let's go to Vancouver. A COVID-19 denier who accused the BC government of kidnapping him and committing terrorism when he was arrested for breaking federal quarantine laws has had his lawsuit tossed out. Mac Parhar, a vocal member of the Flat Earth conspiracy community and the anti-mask movement, has also been ordered to pay the government $750 in court costs. In a decision that was handed down last Friday, BC Supreme Court Justice Murray Block variously described Parhar's civil suit over his arrest as frivolous and vexatious, embarrassing or scandalous, and an abuse of process that does not set out any assertions of fact. Parhar was arrested in November 2020 for repeatedly breaking mandatory quarantine after returning from a Flat Earth conference in the U.S., violations he bragged about during a rally in front of the Vancouver Art Gallery. He currently faces multiple charges in connection with that incident and is scheduled to go to trial in criminal court this summer. Not long after his arrest, Parhar filed a claim for trespass against provincial officials, calling himself Mac of the Parhar family. I don't know what that means, but that's what he was calling himself, and claiming he is not subject to the Quarantine Act or any other law. The claim is filed and filled with pseudological language and said he plans to try the defendants in something he calls Parhar Court. Other documents filed with his claim allege trespass, malfeasance, and extortion, terrorism, kidnapping, and fraud. But the judge dismissed all the allegations. It is patiently absurd and nonsensical. It is difficult to understand how anyone could come to believe any of its concepts, the judge wrote on Parhar's notice of claim. Block said Parhar's claims bear all the hallmarks of an organized pseudo-legal commercial argument, a thorough debunked type of legal theory favored by fringe groups like sovereign citizens and freemen on the land. These groups argue that they are exempt from the authority of government, laws, and the courts. Anyone who wants to avoid paying taxes or obtaining their driver's license, for example, simply needs to learn the right words and phrases. Block said it was clear Parhar had been misled about how the law works. Go figure. Go figure. Oh, this is a cute story here. An Illinois man paid tribute to his deceased father by bowling a perfect 300 game using a ball that contained some of his dad's ashes. 39-year-old John Hinkle went all paranormal and he's a two-time NCAA bowling champion for Western Illinois University, said his father, John Hinkle Sr., introduced him and his brother Joe to the sport of bowling when they were young. Hinkle said that his two-handed bowling technique means he is only allowed 2 fingers in the holes of his ball, so he had the thumb in one hole on his ball filled with some of his father's ashes after the older Hinkle died in 2016. I was talking to my brother and told him, I'm shooting a 300 with this ball, Hinkle said, and Joe said, do it. Hinkle's prediction came true on April 12th when he rolled a perfect game at Landmark Lanes in Peoria. I had tears in my eyes in the 11th and 12th frames. I couldn't tell you where the last ball went. I had so many tears just throwing it, Hinkle said. Hinkle, who has bowled several 300 games during his time in the sport, said the game was especially significant since his father never quite managed to shoot a perfect game. It's special. Dad shot 298, 299, never had a 300. I had goosebumps, chills, Hinkle said. He was there. Good family story right there. A man has gone to trial in Spain for allegedly killing his mother, cutting up her body, and eating her remains. Alberto Sanchez Gomez was arrested in 2019 after police went to the home of his 66-year-old mother following concerns from a friend. Police say they found body parts scattered around the apartment, some kept in plastic containers. The defendant has now told the court that he does not remember dismembering and eating his mother. He is reported to have been suffering from a personality disorder as well as a drug habit prior to his arrest. Spanish media say he had been known to police because of violence against his mother, Maria Soledad Gomez, and that he had breached a restraining order at the time of his arrest. The court heard of this macabre scene police found at the home in eastern Madrid in February 2019. Some of the human remains were in the process of being cooked and others stored in containers. The defendant, who was 26 at the time, reportedly confessed to strangling his mom and said he had sometimes eaten body parts and sometimes given them to the dog. Ugh. The trial continues. Throw a book at him. He's done. A hospital employee in Italy has been accused of skipping work on full pay for 15 years. Not 15 days, not 15 hours, not 15 weeks or months, 15 years. The man is allegedly to have stopped turning up for work at the hospital, I'm not even going to pronounce it, in the southern city of Catanzaro in 2005. He is now being investigated for fraud, extortion, and abuse of office. He was reportedly paid £464,000 in total over the years he thought to have been working, but he wasn't. 6 managers at the hospital are also being investigated in connection with the alleged absenteeism. The arrests are the result of a lengthy police investigation into absenteeism and suspected fraud in the Italian public sector. The employee was a civil servant and was assigned to do a job in the hospital in 2005. It was at this point he just stopped going to work, the police said. The police have also accused him of threatening his manager to stop her from filing a disciplinary report against him. The manager later retired, police said, and his ongoing absence was never noticed by her successor or human resources. How do you miss that? If you're looking through the employee list, how do you not know that the person isn't there? I don't know. A young man, this is a disturbing story here. A young man from Gravenhurst, Ontario, who was skating at a park over the weekend, said Ontario provincial police officer shoved a 12-year-old boy to the ground unprovoked. Brody O'Hare, who's 19, posted a video to Instagram Monday showing an OPP officer pushing a child on a scooter onto the ground at a skate park in Gravenhurst, about a 2-hour drive north of Toronto. The incident comes amid widespread criticism of the province's crackdown on outdoor activities during a surging third wave of COVID-19. Now, O'Hare, who did not shoot the video, says that the officer shoved the boy to the ground for no reason. He said the boy had been complying with the officer's demands that he put a mask on, which is not required by law outdoors in Ontario. The boy didn't cuss at him or talk back. He complied completely, O'Hare said. That little boy did not deserve to be shoved basically full force to the ground. That cop stiff-armed him. In a statement issued Tuesday, OPP Commissioner Thomas Carrick said Peel police are investigating an incident that took place April 18th involving a member of the Bracebridge OPP and a young person. Officers stopped to speak to a group of young people, none of whom were wearing masks or social distancing. Officers attempted to interact with the youth, which led to the physical confrontation between one officer and one young person. In response to a list of specific allegations, the OPP said it could not comment because the situation is under investigation. Now, I've seen this video, and I really try to side away from things like this, but there was 2 cops there, and the bigger cop shoved him, and the kid went flying about 6 feet from his scooter. Pretty bad. Pretty bad. Not cool at all. This guy deserves a job at the mall. In the distance, a male cop shoves a boy off his scooter, causing him to fall in the grass. Another cop is on the scene. O'Hare said the cop who shoved the child is the same person shouting, "Do not touch me," in the video, but said the boy did not touch the officer or talk back to him at all. He said the park was open when officers came in and began demanding that kids and teens wear masks and asking a couple of them for identification. O'Hare said that the cop who pushed the child seemed aggressive. Yeah, really, check out the video. And a few of the older teens were lipping him off. O'Hare said the cop told the 12-year-old to get his mask on and that the park was now closed. He said the boy responded that he was going to leave, to which the cop began demanding his ID and his parents' phone number. This cop was just aggravated from a few other kids that were lipping him off, not wearing masks. I guess that's what triggered him, O'Hare said. He yelled at the kid for not complying to the ID. 12-year-old doesn't have ID. Yeah. Oh, yeah, this is going to get messy here. All right. A woman was forced to rush her beloved pet to the vet because she found a strange bone in her backyard alongside a chilling note suggesting that the bone had been laced with poison. Nice neighbor. A letter left at the scene claimed that the dog barks too much and therefore must be poisoned. 66-year-old Sherry Blair from North Sydney made the horrific discovery near her home at around 6 a.m. Monday morning. She immediately rushed her Portuguese Podengo Jolene off to seek medical assistance as she remained at the veterinary center all day long. It all started when the dog failed to return to Cherie in the garden as per usual, and that's where she discovered the bone around the corner with the note. She says, it was one of those things that you have to go to the pet store to get there, and like a freeze-dried bone, quite big. Cherie said she initially chucked the bone over the fence and thought little more of it, but then she found the terrifying letter. She said, something made me go down there again, and then when I looked down, there was a letter, but it was sealed in an envelope, and it had a message on it. The note read, your dog is to be poisoned, too much barking, sorry, but no choice, your fault. Blair said, I just started freaking out and I started screaming at my husband to go get the bone. They couldn't even spell on the letter. Yeah, it was bad penmanship for sure. Yeah, fault is spelled F-A-L-T. Yeah. So anyways, gets the dog to the veterinary clinic and they're checking the dog out. Dog is going to be okay, thankfully, because, you just don't do that to a pooch. Look, everybody has neighbors who don't like their dogs barking, or everybody has that neighbor with the dogs barking. But you don't poison the dog. You talk to the people. You talk to the people. Lack of communication here, man. Lack of communication. Thought of the Dave happens every night at this time, where we ask a question on our Facebook and Twitter pages, then read your responses on the air because we love the audience participation around here. Today's Thought of the Dave is as follows. What do we got for you? What's your opinion on demons in the paranormal? Greg, stay away, sound the alarm, and run. Gorgeous Jules. People make their own demons as to their perspective of light and dark. For instance, Wood said demons feel they were demons? I really don't know. In this world of duality, there is a spectrum for pretty much everything. Rambling on, giggles. And Julian, bonjour, Julian. Fallen angels. John, who wears a Stetson. Manifestations of our fears and desires created by dimensional entities for as yet unknown purposes. Angels, Bigfoot, and big cats, other manifested for the same reason. Think slide none. Slide none, psychometric projection, manipulation of human consciousness. It's not just craft they manifest now. Paul, they're always hungry. Pidge, they're demonic, Dave. 13 ballads. A drooling 7-foot, 12-foot horn. That makes no sense. 7-foot, 12-foot horn demon reaching out to snatch the grandchild off their bed. Oh, man, too much cannabis. I think you're right on that one. I really do think you're right. Have another hit, 13. That's okay. All right, let's move on. Eric Cooper and his mustache and beard say demons are very rare. Paul, demons we have never encountered. Krista, we hire them with our unconscious and anti-conscious, choosing when we're not willing to be as potent as we truly could be. Every time we judge ourselves, we hire more demons, and that keeps us average, normal, and real like everyone else instead of just choosing what truly makes us happy. How does it get any better than this? Carrie Lynn, Mazikeen from the Lucifer TV show was pretty cool. Adriano, I don't know really, Dave. Probably that they're real and want to do the devil's work. Chris, would not want to run into a gnome. Smudging great practice when searching for the truth. But watch out for them gnomes sometimes. It's true. Very much true. Let's go to Derek. I think it would often be quite easy to encounter alien beings and think you had encountered demons or angels, and it has happened many times in the past. On the other hand, ceremonial black magic does work as advertised. Preston, the only thing more dangerous than demons are gnomes and fairies. Once again with the gnomes. Adam, think about the other things, and you might be better off. Davey, demons are real, as are the jinn. One of the biggest challenges is that we try to ascribe intent to matters and events that are beyond our understanding. Kevin, demons in the paranormal are more preferable to flies in the hemorrhoid cream. Thanks, Kevin. Kira, be careful what you give energy to as your consciousness manifests your reality. Paul, scary subject, Dave. Avoid at all costs. Nikki, true demons, aka jinn, are rare. There are other entities which can act like a wannabe demon. We should all learn the difference. Chuck gets the final word. Everyone has an opinion on them. I feel both darkness and light beings exist. I have seen enough darkness, I would say that it could have been demonic. However, this is extremely rare and should not be thrown around. Thank you to everybody playing along in the thought of the day. We'll do it all again tomorrow. Thank you to everyone hanging out on Twitter at hashtag Spaced Out Radio for playing along, as well as Facebook. Thank you to Captain Shirk for the SOR Newswire, and to Merle and Nick T. White for Ghosts of the Great White North. We got Mr. Ron Bumblefoot Thal rocking in the background with Little Brother is Watching. Bumblefoot is the official music of Spaced Out Radio, rocking us in and out of every single show. Get your horns up for the guitar god himself. Special thanks to everybody listening in at work, at home, in your cars, wherever you may be. Thank you to everyone in our chat rooms tonight on YouTube, LGAB, Revolution Radio, Facebook, the Space Travelers Club, and on Twitter at hashtag Spaced Out Radio, where Derek and the Snarkettes are playing all night long. Remember, this show is copyright by Spaced Out Radio and SOR Media Ventures Limited. Thank you so much for choosing to share your evening with us, because together, my friends,
we're watching.
We own the night. Mr. Bumblefoot, we need a favor. We need you to take us home. Yes, the Woo train has docked for the night, but soon, my friends, we shall ride again. Your seats are always available. Your tickets never expire. And if you want to bring a friend, we've got room for them too. Good night. Good quality show there tonight with Merle. Good quality Merling. All of us. All of us. Hey, Eric Cooper and Cooper's Beard. 2 separate entities, by the way. Very good to have you here, Coopster. Coopster. Coopster Rama. Coopster Rama. Yes, I think we should DJ Swisher. Sweet from Houston, Texas. I'll be right back, guys. I got pee. Be right back. Pull up my pants this time. Make sure my pants are pulled up this time. Yeah. Pants. Base pants. Base pants. Give me 2 seconds here, people. That was a fun show. Pull that up so I can see you guys. Copy. Paste. Thanks, Rye. Appreciate that. That was a fun show. Tomorrow night on the show, who's with us here? Where do we start? Is that it? Where do we start? I think right there. Yep. I think that's it. Hold on. Okay. Start. Perfect. Good night, Jenny. And oh, Mr. Catfish. You're way too kind, man. Way too kind. I don't know what we do to keep you happy, man, but thank you so much for the another super chat. I really do appreciate that, my friend. Really do appreciate that. That's great support for our show. Thank you. We can pants if we want to. We can leave your friends behind. Because if your friends don't pants, and if they don't pants, well, they're no friends of mine. Very creative, Mondak. Very creative. That will Men Without Hats will always be sung on this show. The Michael Leger. Oh, cancel. God damn it. Want to copy, go there, paste there. Oh, Ben, you're messing me up with Fap. Fap's the one who has the big head. Cooper, where are you going? You better not be leaving. You better be just refilling. Cut that short, damn it. I cut that short. Like right there. Good night, the Michael Leger. Duke's gone 9-night too. Good night, Duke. You're the only one that showed proof of a fitted. I'm not saying that I'm not a size 8, dude. Where is my hat? Yeah, it's a size 8. I can show you that. Not a problem. Slide that pisser on right there. Oh, it's tight. I'm not gonna lie, it's tight right now. It's because I haven't trimmed my hair on the sides, where it's real tight. All right, let's go here. Shelly, what are you getting into your car for at this time of night? Are you going to Taco Bell? You're going to Taco Bell, aren't you? Bap, I guarantee you that your head is filled with helium to make sure that you get a size 15 hat on, no problem. Guaranteed. Totally guaranteed that's happening. You want the beard polar eclipse? You can have it. Okay, that's all done there. Open this up and switch these over. Probably. You're probably correct. No, I'd probably lose an inch. Probably go down to about a 7.25. Randy, Dave, when you finish a show, do you head to bed or do you stay up for a while? You must be a night owl. This is exactly what I do. First thing I do after every show is I will go outside after the show and I will just check out, see if it's warm out, I'll check and see the stars just to see if there's anything pushing on there. And one second, Nelson just... then I once I don't see any aliens or UFOs or northern lights or satellites, excuse me, I head back in and then I crawl into bed and I play my wolf game that I play. It's called the Wolf Simulator. If you want to download it for free, I play that for I don't know, 15 minutes until my eyes start going cross-eyed. And then from there, I will put on some creepy pasta and fall asleep to that. That's my nightly routine. The people I work with think I'm a weirdo. It's funny, I get harassed about it all the time during my daytime job, but it's fun harassment. The guy who owns my work, he's a real Christian dude, but he thinks it's awesome that I'm chasing all of these monsters like Bigfoot and UFOs and aliens. He really believes in UFOs and aliens. He doesn't really like the ghost stuff. He gives me warnings about dealing with spirits and all that. But he understands that I'm safe and try and do everything with safety and precaution. The other guys at work, they make fun of me, but you know, they're all like, "Hey, can I order a t-shirt? Hey, can I order a t-shirt?" And so that's kind of cool. It's very cool. So, damn it. I haven't got my shot yet. I really do not want to get one. And it's not that I don't believe that they aren't going to work. I'm hoping they do. But for me, the last flu shot I got was in 1999, and I have never been more sick in my life than when I got that. So I'm not saying to people don't go get it, but for me, I really don't want to get it unless they make it into a travel, uh, mandatory travel, like across the border that I got to get it. Then I'll go get it. But up until that point, I have no plans on getting the shot because I just don't want to get sick. Mm-hmm. Who's gonna get blocked? Oh, are you talking about the YouTube algorithms? We'll see. Vin, don't give him that much credit. Well, I didn't give out phony info. I will tell you this, and I've even talked to my doctor about this. You should all be on capsicum. Capsicum. Capsicum is a very important natural ingredient in peppers that makes your nose runny. And you should all be on capsicum. Capsicum is the heat that when you eat spicy food or you put hot sauce on and it burns going down your throat and it burns like hot. What that does is capsicum, when it gets into your system, this is not official medical advice, definitely not. But when it gets into your system, it its main job is, when you eat spicy food, your nose gets runny. Well, what's happening is that spice that you are eating gets into your lungs. Your lungs is where your mucus comes from, and or snot, boogers, whatever you want to call it. And in between the lining of your lungs and the lining of the mucus and the mucus lining, pardon me, that's where influenza, um, bronchitis, pneumonia, and diseases like COVID store. And that's how your lungs get filled up, is because they are being protected and insulated and festering in between the lung lining of your lungs and the mucus lining that is built in there. And so with capsicum, it melts the mucus lining in your lungs. So it'll spell like this. So you're often, when you're eating spicy food, you're often blowing your nose. That's because it's melted the mucus lining in your lungs. And I had in 2019, for those of you who were around listening back then, I had bronchitis for 4.5 months. Couldn't shake it. And I decided to start. I have if you go into my fridge right now, I've got like 15, 16 bottles, 20 bottles of hot sauce that I pig out on. I love hot sauce. I'll give you an example. I had tacos for dinner tonight, had hot sauce. I had rice last night. I put hot sauce on it and burned the hell out of my mouth, which is cool. Sucks, but it's true. But what happens is I started taking hot sauce by a teaspoon when I had my bronchitis. I took it in the morning and then at night. And one day I took it in the afternoon because throat was really raw. Excuse me. And within 5 days, my bronchitis was gone. This just burnt the living daylights out of my lungs, which is a good burn, a natural burn. And I got rid of bronchitis. So when I talked to my family doctor about it, and he's a really cool dude, he asked me, what are you taking for precaution? I said, I take vitamin C, vitamin D, and I also take capsicum. And he highly recommended that I keep doing that. So capsicum is very good for you. Very, very good for you. Well, it goes in dosages, D Swagger. I mean, I eat a lot of hot sauce. Like I'm addicted to it. But I mean, even if you use whatever gets your nose running, whatever, the minute your nose starts running from eating something spicy, that's clearing your lungs, and that's what you want to do with COVID or pneumonia or bronchitis. You want to make sure that your lungs are okay, and if your lungs are okay, there's not as much chance to get it. So whatever you're comfortable with, just make sure your nose is running, and try and do that daily or every couple of days. And between vitamin C, vitamin D, capsicum, and washing your hands on a frequent basis, you should be okay. As well as, if you're in public, like in a public building, when I have to, I wear a mask. If I'm in my office in my daytime, I don't close. If I have clients, I don't close the door. You just take the smart precautions, the 6 feet. You got to sneeze, you go out of the room, and yeah, jalapenos work. Jalapenos work. 71795. Really, it all comes down to you. Do what you want, do what you can to stay safe. You can, yeah, Vin. Of course, you're gonna think that way. Don't inject it into your privates, dude. It'll burn. Yeah, country music will literally get you COVID every time. You don't want none of that. I do not need to wear suspenders. By the way, I'm on day 4 of my diet. Day 4. And I've had no caffeine. D-Swagger, exactly. I've had no caffeine. Very little to no sugar intake. Lots of hot sauce. Like, I'm starving. I'll go upstairs after I'm done. I'll eat an apple before I go to bed. No, I don't get a sore nose. I get a burning throat. You can feel the heat going. You can feel the heat going into your system. And the only way you'll get a sore burning nose is if it's on your fingers and you forget to wash your hands. That sucks. I did that in my eye the other day. Thank goodness it wasn't my really, really hot ones. Deleted that one. Chris James, what's going on? Yeah, I want to try and lose 50 pounds. 50 pounds. That's my goal. I can do it, great. I'm easing into the diet. I haven't started the exercise yet, which will really help speed things up. I just want to get my body, because I've neglected my body for so long, I just want to get it back and do things slow and in time rather than rushing into everything. Because when you rush into everything, when you're as out of shape as I am right now, that's when bad things happen. Excuse me. So I'm just really trying hard right now to do things and get my body used to it. About 2 months ago, I cut myself off caffeine completely, and so I hope it works. You know, my thing is too. I actually I love eating, but I actually love eating healthy. So part of my problem is that I have to get over in my head is because I work so much and I'm sitting all day long, that time when I have between my daytime job and my nighttime gig with you guys, excuse me, I have to at least get 15 minutes, 20 minutes of exercise in, you know? But it sucks though, because when where I got fed up, where I got fed up for myself was my joints are always hurting, you know, and I felt like my body, I was feeling like I was becoming an old man, and I was like, you know, I'm like 47 years old and I feel like I'm like 60, 67, 68, and I'm just like, screw that. Like, what am I doing to myself? Like, that's not cool. Yes, Randy Spurl, love the Trailer Park Boys. And Fabster, I will rock that G string, buddy, in Vegas. No, I don't smoke joints. Done. That one's done. Tomorrow night on the show, we got Gary King and Darcy Weir. We're talking crop circles tomorrow night. Yes, I'm born in 1973. Crop circles tomorrow night, people. Dave, did you get any headaches after giving up caffeine? Yes, I had headaches for about 2-3 days, and they were almost like migraines, like real painful. One day was really bad. I'm Marie. Bruce Springsteen still sucks. He still sucks. Trying to look all tough, wearing his jean jacket and headband and born in the USA. Oh, Mondak, you'll love it. I'll send you an autographed picture of my ass. How about that? Justin Ruoko, what's going on? Yeah, Justin, I feel the same way. Tying the shoes. It's terrible. Terrible. It's funny. I found giving up Pepsi much easier. When I gave up Pepsi a year ago, or almost a year ago, I found it much easier than giving up the caffeine from going to Tim Hortons every day. I found I got more heartburn. Kind of tired of the heartburn. So, yeah, it was today day 4 Sunday I started. Yeah, today's day 4. But I'm already feeling better. I'm already feeling like I can feel my body detoxifying. Weird as that may sound. I have a shake for breakfast. I have a blueberry banana protein shake for breakfast. And then around 11:30 I'll start to get hungry. And I'll eat some fruit. And then I have a sandwich, because the one thing I did notice is if I don't eat meat during the day, I go right, like my entire head starts to get sore. So, I'll have a sandwich. Excuse me, for lunch. And then I'll have a sensible dinner. And the other thing that I won't do either is I used to overfill myself when I ate, and now I'm just eating until I'm not hungry anymore. Like tonight when we had tacos, soft tacos for dinner, normally I could pound back anywhere between 4 and 7 of those. And now tonight I stopped at 3 because I just wasn't hungry any after that. And the hard thing is, I knew in my mind I could keep going. I knew that I could keep going, and I just didn't want to. So, it's all about making the mental changes. You can diet, you can work out, you can do whatever you want, but unless you're mentally prepared for it, it's not going to work. Ayaz, what's going on? I once lost 60 pounds by applying the warrior diet. See, I can't do fasting. I work way too much to do fasting. Well, people, I have to get up with my little guy in the morning to get him ready for school. And it's something that I really enjoy doing. So that's what I'm going to do, which means that I sadly have to say goodnight to you, beautiful people, for the night. And I do apologize, but it's just the way it is. And what the Sam Hill is happening with my friggin' computer here? And so I'm going to say goodnight to you guys all right now because I can. And I want to say a big thank you to all the veterans who listen to this show. We absolutely love you. We want to say a big thank you to our good friends who are hanging on out in the chat rooms on a nightly basis. All of our new subscribers that we have on the show, we really appreciate you guys. Way more than what you think. Way more than what you think. And I just really appreciate it, man. You know, it's very thankful for all of you to be here on a nightly basis. I want to try and hit, you know, what my goal is. I was thinking the other day, I wanted to try and hit 15,000 subscribers before my birthday, but I don't think that's going to happen. We rolled 10,000 subscribers in January. We're up to 11,200 now, which is great. You know, so we're averaging like 300 new subscribers a month. Let's see here. I'll get to it in a second. So I would like to try and hit an average of like lately we've been having a lot of people. Tonight was a low night. We hit 121 people in the chat room. But for a lot of nights lately, we've been having like between 140 and 160 people in the chat room. I'd love to try and push that up to like 200. I think that'd be really cool. I got to figure out how to do that. Randy Spurl had a question. Do you ever get sick of being obligated to do your radio show? Ever have nights where you just don't feel like being social? Yes, tonight. Tonight. There are certain times. That's actually a good question. There are certain times that I just do not want to do the show. Either I'm tired or I just had a bad day. Just want to go to bed. There's a lot of times that happens. When things are stagnant for a while, or when I'm too busy, I'm not accomplishing what I need to accomplish, then I really start to stress out. So there are a lot of times. Oh, excuse me. And it could be anything. Tonight, I was thinking about my daughter down on the coast. And her and I don't have the best of relationships. I wish they were better. And I miss my girl. And, you know, you just get triggered. And sometimes it's just like, God, I now gotta go do this. Right. But yeah, I mean, Rye, you're exactly right. I mean, you have to man up and do it. And you know, I mean, in the end, this is a job. This is a career. I mean, it's something that I love doing. I mean, what kicks the shit out of me, to be honest, is having to edit the show after. I hate having to edit the show. I hate it. I hate every freaking minute of it. But it's got to be done. Otherwise, if I don't do it, it doesn't get to the radio stations. And excuse me. So I end up getting tired. So eventually I'm going to have to figure something out. If we get more stations up, which I'm hoping here, we've got a couple irons in the fire right now. Once we get a couple more stations, I'm going to see about switching over to going live. for them rather than doing the editing and doing staying up an extra half hour. Because the other shitty part about it too, guys, is a lot of times people actually want to talk to me after the show. Okay, like sometimes people who will say they're in the UFO, it's mainly in the UFO world, but a lot of times they will want to have a chat after the show, and sometimes I'm up till like 2-3 in the morning. So it happens. It happens. But on that note, I got to get up with my little guy in the morning. Randy, do I ever get sick of doing the show? I get sick of it when I'm tired, or mainly when my parents are over, when I have company over. But otherwise, no, I don't. Much love, everyone. Thank you to everybody in the super chat tonight. Thank you to all our veterans who listen to this show. Thank you to all of you for making tonight very, very special. Tomorrow night on the show, we have Darcy Weir, Gary King. We're talking crop circles, 9 p.m. Pacific, midnight Eastern time. Make sure you join us. I'll be here. You be here. Let's all be here. Do me a favor. Tell a friend. That's all I ask. Tell a friend. Tell them to come play along with us. Have a good one.